This is an outrage.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, June 25th, 2023. This is your award-winning Cable Nation Media Assassination episode 1567.
This is No Agenda.
Exposing all the ops and broadcasting live from the heart of the Texas Hill Country here in FEMA Region number 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, I'm fogged in. I'm John C. Dvorak.
Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
It's early. It's supposed to be July 4th when you get fogged in. This is too early. It's come too early, the fog.
The whole month of June has been July 4th.
In more ways than one, I hear, there in California. Yeah. Wow, man. It's just op after cover up after cover up. It's what a day to be alive. What a day to be a podcaster.
What a day to spot the spook.
Oh, man. I didn't actually expect you to say that one. We should probably...
Oh, by the way, did you get the bonus clip?
Oh, hold on a second. There's a bonus clip. Hold on. Let me check the bonus clip. Hold on.
There was a 2000...
That's not it. This is the...
Spot the spook. Spot the spook. Everybody wants to spot the spook.
Yeah. Can I play my spook clip right off the bat then while I download your bonus clip?
Yes, please.
Richard Engel, NBC.
Most Americans know Prigozhin from the disinformation on their social media feeds. He founded a bot farm, the Internet Research Agency, that, according to the Justice Department, sowed doubts about the legitimacy of the 2016 election, highlighted racial tensions in the United States, and promoted Donald Trump. In 2022, Prigozhin reinvented himself again into a commander of a mercenary army, the Wagner Group, supplementing Russian troops in Ukraine, which were failing on the battlefield. He recruited thousands of convicts, promising pardons in exchange for frontline service. Thousands were sent to their deaths. And according to the few who managed to escape, they were shot if they attempted to retreat. But with money, power, and an armed force, Prigozhin has made enemies. He accuses Russia's defense minister and army chief, driven by jealousy and treason, of denying Wagner fighters ammunition. And now he wants revenge.
Oh, yeah.
After one of the most dramatic days in Russia in decades, Prigozhin reportedly agreed to some sort of exile in Belarus. But why? Was it his only way to survive and keep his lucrative businesses in Africa? Or is he just biding time? It's hard to believe this murky power struggle is over.
It's hard to believe this murky story you're throwing up is far from over. Wow. You know, we didn't hear much about him. We didn't hear Wagner Group when it was the bot farm. They weren't saying Wagner Group then at all. At all.
Never.
Not once. It was.
In fact, they had other names for the bot farm.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, this guy, he looks like a computer genius, by the way, when you see him. Total nerd.
See him sitting around in Africa, in the mines going, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to help Donald Trump with bots. No, I mean, we went to Austin Friday night, met some friends from Dallas, my boy from Jersey and his wife, Vic and Chris. And we went to Rogan's Club. Ari, the self-deprecating Jew comedian, very funny. On the way home, I'm like, in the morning, Saturday, I was listening to the news. Wow, man. And who popped up? Jane Harmon. Haven't heard Jane Harmon in years. Do we remember Jane Harmon?
Yeah, she was she was a congresswoman or something from Southern California, and she was a spook.
Well, and she worked for the Wilson Center.
Oh, that's what she is now, I think, still.
Well, she's president emeritus. She was the president of the Wilson Center after she left Congress. And so you sent me a link to, I'll read the headline, What Does Prigozhin's Mutiny Mean for Putin? Written by Lucien Kim of the Wilson Center. We haven't heard from these guys for years, and now, this is not coincidence. When this happens and we get Richard Engel out, there's something up.
First of all, let's talk a little bit about Lucien. I think our consulting group could probably do some work for the agency.
I mean, we're willing, we're open to it.
Yeah.
I have no issue.
So they have this. So they're the LinkedIn accounts.
Yeah.
Of 90% of the CIA people are trying to kind of hide a little bit or not be checkmark CIA.
Yes.
First of all,
they should just have a check mark that actually has a little CIA emblem in there. That should just be, part of your profile.
First of all, just a couple of tips. If you've got over 500 connections, put a photograph up.
Right.
Your photograph's going to be around somewhere anyway. Put a simple photograph up, just you wearing a Dodgers cap. Anything.
Just to put a photo of people. Come on.
Just some photo. And then don't show off that, I've been here, I've been there, I've been Berlin, I've been in Afghanistan. I mean, first of all, when you've been in Berlin, Afghanistan, this, that, and the other, and then you come, and then the checkbox killer on that particular guy. Graduate School of Journalism, Berkeley.
Oh, bing, bing.
That's where Ling Ling and Ding Dong and the people that were caught in Iran and all the rest of them were all from that school.
Ling Ling and Ding Dong. This show title. Hold on a second. Oh my goodness. So there were a couple other things that happened. Before we get deep into this. And by the way, people, we're gonna help you understand exactly what's going on here, because it's part cover up, it's part op, it's a lot of different pieces going, but still, or just wrapped up now in Europe, is that Ukraine recovery conference where they're figuring out, okay, who's going to get what, who's going to get, the good land. In fact, there was Mick Wallace, a member of European Parliament. I think he's from an Irish party. He was speaking in the European Parliament. They cut him off. He was making so much sense. Listen to this.
The damage to Ukraine is devastating. Towns and cities that endured for hundreds of years don't exist anymore. We must recognise that these towns, cities and surrounding lands were long been stolen by local oligarchs colluding with global financial capital. This theft quickened with the onset of the war in 2014. The pro-Western government opened the doors wide for massive structural adjustment and privatisation programmes spearheaded by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the IMF and the World Bank. Zelensky used the current war to concentrate power and accelerate the corporate fire sale. He banned opposition parties that were resisting deeply unpopular reforms to the laws restricting the sale of land to foreign investors. Over 3 million hectares of agricultural land are now owned by companies based in Western tax havens. Ukraine's mineral deposits alone are worth over $12 trillion. Western companies are licking their lips. What are the working class people up?
Oh, shut up. Cut his mic. Hey, make sure you have a Ukrainian flag in your profile, because that's what you're supporting. The Western corporations licking their lips. So this lipping is happening, or it just...
Well, it must have a Cargill logo.
Yeah, right. So this lipping was taking place in London. And now, this was just a coincidence. That's why I kept this clip very short. Remember what the Pentagon just announced this past week?
Well, remind me.
That another accounting error.
Oh, yes, the additional... these are not small errors. $6+ billion somehow off the books.
I think it was $6.5 billion, if I'm not mistaken.
Could be.
Well, imagine my surprise when I hear this report from Deutsche Welle.
Ukraine's prime minister says that he's confident his country will receive the $6.5 billion that it needs this year for its rapid reconstruction program.
What? What? That can't be coincidence. $6.5 billion. $6.5 billion. Yeah, he's confident he will receive that.
Comes after a conference in London where international donors pledged billions more in non-military aid to help rebuild Ukraine and to weed out corruption. Kyiv says that recovering from Russia's invasion will be the largest reconstruction project in Europe since the Second World War, and that Russia should pay for it.
Okay, so this is my favorite.
By the way, is Mexico going to pay for the wall?
Hey, don't stop colluding and convoluting things. Just because I called this and I've been hounding it doesn't mean you can weaken me. Speaking of weakening, let's just review. The industrial powerhouse of Europe since World War II, as they keep discussing here, this will be the $400 billion. It's what it took to rebuild Berlin after the Second World War. So Germany was this industrial powerhouse. The French hate the Germans hate the French. This is why they always go to war together. And this time, the French kept most of their nuclear plants, and PSYOP, the Germans, shut them down. Energiewende. Shut them down. It'll be good. We'll get you some solar panels and some windmills. Now Germany is completely obliterated as an industrial force.
Screwed over. Now I think they're going to rebuild Ukraine into, obviously, an agrarian superpower, but also probably industrial. It's going to be a great tax haven for everybody, and they have definitely agreed who's going to pay for it. Remember, they need $400 billion. That won't be enough, of course, but that's what they're talking about. And I had to go to Turkish radio television to get the real wrap-up of the Ukraine Recovery Conference in London.
The World Bank says rebuilding Ukraine will cost more than $400 billion. In London, 1,000 delegates from over 60 countries gathered to discuss how best to raise and invest the money. Private sector involvement is seen as crucial. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky joined by video link. His Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal spoke in person.
One of the key questions we are constantly facing is who will pay the hundreds of billions for the recovery. First and foremost, Russia must pay for what it has destroyed.
It was a message repeated by many, including co-host UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. An estimated $300 billion worth of Russian assets have been frozen worldwide.
It's clear Russia must pay for the destruction that they've inflicted. So we're working with allies to explore lawful routes to use Russian assets. Yeah! And on Monday, we published new legislation to allow us to keep sanctions in place until Russia pays up.
The EU will provide $55 billion for the next 4 years and promise the recovery process will lead to EU membership.
Ukrainians tell us that when they imagine their future, they see Europe's flag flying over their cities. And I have no doubt that Ukraine will be part of our union.
Whenever a politician says, I have no doubt this is going to happen, it's not going to happen. You know, it's not going to happen. So they're going to take $350 billion from Russia and $55 billion from the EU equals $405 billion. Done. And that goes to all these companies setting up shop because, you know, recovery. We need some assurances. We need some money.
You need money.
It's a great heist. The number, and $6.5 billion goes to Vlad.
Heist is the right word.
Heist. And $6.5 billion that we just found by some accounting error, that goes to Zelensky. Oh, I need $6.5 billion. All right, here you go. I mean, this is so obvious, and now, of course, we have to accelerate it. So I'm going to play one more short clip. I think you have some things to take us through the background.
Well, I was still working on the Putin fall of Putin stories, but you jumped into the news line of thinking here.
No. Now we're going to go into the fall of Putin, and I'll set you up.
Russia in turmoil. The leader of the Russian paramilitary Wagner group turning his forces in Ukraine around and then marching towards Russia, calling for an armed rebellion against the Kremlin's defense minister.
Yeah, a video posted online overnight showing Russian armored vehicles on the move in the key city of Rostov-on-Don. This follows months of public feuding with Yevgeny Prigozhin and Russia's military leaders, accusing them of failing to provide his troops with enough ammunition during the battle for Bakhmut. The Kremlin now accusing Prigozhin of fomenting an armed rebellion.
It was fantastic this weekend. They had Wolf Blitzer working on Saturday. You know, they had Christiana Amanpour with Obama. Everybody was at, this was a bonanza. It's time. We're going to do something. We're on the move. We're on the move. Did you see the Obama thing? It was kind of boring, but.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Is there you have a good clip from it?
Yeah, I do, actually.
It's boring. It's boring.
No, he's boring. Go ahead. He's boring. Let's hear what you got.
Well, I picked up, I've got a series here, but I picked up this morning. I couldn't resist. I turned on the TV. I was just eating breakfast.
Wait, stop. What did you have for breakfast?
I had a pancake
again with an egg.
Yes, but this was made with no wheat because Mimi's been wheatless.
Yes,
and it was actually quite good.
Well, the wheat is where everyone gets the the Crohn's disease from because of the chemicals, because of Roundup.
There's a lot of stuff that you get from wheat. I mean, I don't have any trouble with wheat.
Me neither.
But Mimi has been can't even get close to it.
She goes into, she has, what is it called?
No, she doesn't have anything. It's just a wheat allergy. She doesn't have
she has a husband
celeriac or any of these other things.
Celiac disease. That's
celiac.
Right.
She doesn't have that.
Oh, okay.
But she gets sick as a dog if she has any.
Well, that's celiac. That's what they call celiac when you get sick as a dog from wheat.
Yeah, but celiac is a specific function. It does a certain thing to your body. This is not that.
Okay. All right.
She will have this all from COVID, or she thinks it brought it on.
Oh, she got Wuhan
thank
disease.
you for the weaponization of common cold, people. Anyway, let's get back to this. Russia, let's go with before we put. So I got a clip. Shannon Bream had this Sunday morning
with Shannon Bream.
And so she's there with this guy who's another guy with a kind of a fake last name and looks perfect for the job. Drops a series of serious little subtle, very well done propagandistic notions that are in that. So this is the report. I'm going to play this first. This is the bonus clip.
Yeah.
But
this
first,
I'm sorry. This is from this morning, just a few minutes ago.
But first, we turn to Greg Palkot, who's live in Kyiv with more on what happened and what it means for Ukraine's plans to beat back Russian forces. Hello, Greg.
I've never heard of this guy. Greg Palkot?
Palkot. You can look him up.
Palkot?
You won't find anything. They make the mistake of not giving him a wiki page, and so he doesn't have that. And then he's got, again, here we go, Berlin, Afghanistan, Iran, foreign service. He looks the part.
Wait,
he
Berkeley?
looks like
did he go to school with Ling Ling and Ding Dong?
I couldn't find a wiki page of all. He went to Wesleyan, which is a school.
Wesley. Oh yeah. That's a Washington D.C. elitist child school. I know it well. Wesleyan, of course.
So he's got all the earmarks. So he's the guy on Fox that is the journalist. So
but first, we turn to Greg Palkot, who's live in Kyiv with more on what happened and what it means.
Stop.
We're stopping.
We're going to stop a lot.
Okay.
You might as well be in Sacramento. He's reporting on. He's in Kyiv. So what? What is it? He can be reporting from London. I don't get it. But okay, he's in Kyiv reporting on what's going on in Russia because of this maniac with his one tank that he's floating around with.
Ukraine's plans to beat back Russian forces. Hello, Greg.
Hi, Shannon. Yeah, it's the morning the day after, and it looks like we're back from the brink in Russia, but it also looks like there's a lot of damage and a lot more questions. It was the biggest challenge to Russian President Vladimir Putin in more than 2 decades of rule, an attempted armed uprising. The man responsible, the Wagner Group mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin. He had complained about the war, Russian military leadership and conduct, then pulled his fighters out of Ukraine and into the Russian city of Rostov-on-Don, where, with little trouble, he took charge. Then he sent his forces towards Moscow. The Kremlin braced for an attack, Vladimir Putin branding the actions treason, as Washington Watch has now reported. U.S. intelligence had earlier suspected something, at least, was afoot.
Hold on a second. I just want to point out, he is a three-time Emmy Award winner for reporting for the Associated Press, United Press International, for his programs airing on PBS and CBS. Yeah, he's a real one.
It reportedly took Belarus President Lukashenko on authority of Putin, speaking with Prigozhin to cool things down. The Wagner chief pulling his forces back to their camp.
Analyze what he said so far. For one thing, they make a big fuss about him rolling into Rostov-on-Don.
Yeah.
And taking over the place.
Never heard of this before. And you know what I missed in all this? It was like his 25,000 troops. I kept seeing the same footage, like 12 guys On a street.
About 12 guys and 3 vehicles.
And a
one
couple
tank.
of people smoking cigarettes looking at him.
One tank with a Z painted on it.
Wagner the dog, everybody. Yeah.
Whoa. Wow. Nailed it. Somebody gave you that.
Oh, totally. That was Clip Custodian. Neil, way to go, man. Way to go.
Yeah, you need writers.
Yeah, you don't.
So we got this guy in this one tank, and they keep shooting pictures of the tank. If a group of guys with a tank came into Albany, the little town of Albany, which is next to Berkeley, or even Berkeley, let's say, with a tank, and walked into the city council, get out, to put guns on everybody, they'd all leave. They'd take over the place for a couple days.
The Russians were fighting him, like, get out of the street, you douche. They were swinging at him.
The public was not happy.
They were swinging at him. I loved it.
So this is bull crap.
Yeah.
And in fact, the whole thing is such bull crap with this guy and his one tank and a couple of other, I don't know, car carriers. I don't know what they were. And then they hauled the tank off, and the guy rushed off to Belarus. He's either part of a scheme or he's dead, one of the two. So let's continue with this bogus report.
It reportedly took Belarus President Lukashenko on authority of Putin speaking with Prigozhin to cool things down. The Wagner chief pulling his forces back to their camps in Ukraine in exchange for guarantee of security. We still don't have confirmation of the Wagner movements. Prigozhin was supposedly to be sent to Belarus, his demands for Russian defense reform unaddressed, some of his mercenary army to be absorbed by the Russian military. During all of this here in Ukraine, officials and a lot of others watching as well. President Zelensky said it was a sign of chaos and instability in Russia, taking advantage of the confusion across the border. Kyiv launched new inroads into Russian front lines all in the past 24 hours. Shannon, the big loser, according to most today, is really Vladimir Putin. Hired fighters running rampant, a mercenary boss criticizing your war plans. Not a good look for a man supposedly in control. Maybe that is why State TV is running reportedly a pre-taped interview with Putin today in which he says he's confident in the special military operation. That's what he calls the war here. Confidence, no doubt shaken by this weekend's events.
Yes, this is so there's...
I was just going to say, you notice when he says, as though it's horrible and this proves that he's under...
Yes.
That is pre-taped. He's going to show up pre-taped.
He's in his bunker. He's in his bunker. He's hiding. He's hiding.
Everything on Fox is pre-taped.
So there's multiple operations going on here. And of course, for a long time, it's there's no hatred against the Russian people. Half of us right here have been watching Russian YouTubers, Russian dash cam crashes, Russian meteorites, Russian people in supermarkets, just Russians. Like, first thing I did is I called my Russian, Sir Gene, not a Russian spy. So what are you hearing? No, it's all been Putin. We need regime change. And I think there is a certain element that a narrative can be effective. This is what, the United States intelligence apparatus has been trying for, since the beginning of the tension before there was even any so-called war in Ukraine. Is weaken him from the inside. People are going to start turning against him, and so that's why they labeled this a coup and tension.
And that's right, and that's why Putin kicked the NGOs out.
Yeah,
Putin saw this coming. He's outfoxed them.
Here's CBS 30 seconds.
We begin this morning with our top story: spiraling tension in Russia.
Spiraling tension. Spiraling tension. This is what?
There's no evidence of this.
What is it even? What is spiraling? What is spiraling tension?
Breaking overnight, President Vladimir Putin vows to punish mercenary troops mounting an armed uprising in Russia. Putin made an emergency televised address hours after the Wagner mercenary group crossed into Russia and seized a key military headquarters in the south. The Wagner chief has said his 25,000-strong force is ready to die to take down Russia's military leadership.
Oh, that didn't last long. They were willing to die.
I have a series of reports from PBS on this, kind of. It's kind of a mixed bag of reports.
Okay.
But these are the Ukraine updates, a three-parter.
The Russian mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin is said to be under investigation by Russian intelligence tonight after claiming that Russia's war with Ukraine was started under false pretenses by top military officials. Prigozhin has thousands of personnel aiding Russia's onslaught in Ukraine, and he now says Russian troops have fired on his forces. There are also reports riot police and the National Guard are tightening security at government buildings in Moscow tonight. Meantime, as Lindsay Hilsum of Independent Television News tells us, Ukraine's capital of Kyiv has sprung back to life under the watchful eyes of air defense crews that guard the city.
Every night over Kyiv and other cities, air defenses protect Ukrainian civilians. Every morning, in an undisclosed location just outside the capital, the radar, guns and controls of a German Gepard system are prepared for action.
Interesting to add that.
Each gun fires 550 rounds per minute.
What?
In the last 6 months, this crew has shot down 4 Iranian-made Shahed drones and 2 cruise missiles, preventing death and destruction in the city.
The main advantage of this self-propelled anti-aircraft gun is that it's simple to use because of the computer system and ease of control. Another important thing is that relatively cheap shells can be used to shoot down the very expensive, significant targets that our enemy has.
What is PBS doing? They're not even on the headline. They're doing stuff no one cares about.
They're doing weird stuff, but this is what's interesting is the visuals. You can't see it.
No.
This little device, this thing that they've got, it looks like a tank with 2 anti-aircraft guns in front instead of a big, instead of a cannon.
50 caliber. Yeah, it's 50 caliber that just shoots like crazy.
And it's cool looking. But it's like they got one. I think they got one. This is shooting down these things. They're coming in from who knows where, and this is nonsense. This is the whole thing. These drones, if they get through it all, they got to be junkers to begin with. I'm going to have to do a little report on these drones because I have pictures of most of them. And I don't know. They're off doing this. I don't know why they're doing this, but they're doing a completely different kind of reporting. Let's go to part 2.
The Ukrainian military celebrated the arrival of 2 Patriot batteries from the US and Germany in April. These missiles, by contrast, cost $4 million to fire, but they can shoot down ballistic and hypersonic missiles at long range.
What is this rock music I hear in the background of this PBS report?
I don't know. Just playing.
These missiles,
hold on.
By contrast,
you can stop for just a second. We know the Patriots don't work. When did the price go up to $4 million a shot?
Well, that's...
you ever heard this before?
I'm trying to think if we have.
You shoot one Patriot missile, is $4 million down the drain? They can't hit the side of a barn?
I don't know about that. Well, that's inflation. I'm sorry. It's adjusted for inflation. That's what it is. Come on. Now, who are you for? Are you for America and the military-industrial complex or against it? This is America, baby.
These missiles, by contrast, cost $4 million to fire, but they can shoot down ballistic and hypersonic missiles at long range. Last March, we saw the impact of a rocket strike on an apartment block in Kyiv. The mayor of the capital, Vitaly Klitschko, was there, and Olya Timoshuk from a neighbouring block. Now the block has been rebuilt, better than before, complete with Phoenix mural. And Olya
do they have pterodactyl flying around now? This is a very weird report. Listen to it.
Timoshuk from a neighbouring block. Now the block has been rebuilt, better than before, complete with Phoenix mural.
I don't know what that is.
It's Hillary Clinton. She's flying
they
around.
They play a lot of sound effects nowadays on PBS.
Olya no longer thinks she might have to leave the city.
I sleep better at night, to be honest.
Who was this? I sleep better at night, to be honest.
And Olya no longer thinks she might have to leave.
This is good.
Wallace and Gromit character they brought in.
The city.
I sleep better at night, to be honest. Sometimes I don't even hear the sirens. So, I go to sleep and I know that I will wake up in the morning, actually.
We're doing good things. She can sleep and she knows she's going to live.
I believe in that more than I did last year, to be honest. And now it's easier.
We need this girl is a superstar. I don't know what she looks like, but she's
cute.
So
She's cute.
The Greta of Ukraine. We can use her. Get her a contract.
She work. You're right.
Call her agent. We need this one.
Yeah, feels better.
And what do you feel about the guys who are manning the air defenses?
Oh, they're heroes.
Oh man, she is this Syrian girl who can actually speak English. She's great. She's great.
Cute little British accent.
Is she with William Morris? Who's she with? Get someone on the line. She's fantastic. Good find. You watch. Here's what we would do. Hello, Pickle Factory. Yeah, we think we got a winner here. We got this. We got this girl in Kyiv, and she's perfect. She is perfect. If you want to have some psyop going on, she's the one.
She's cute. She's sweet. She's
got,
and she's just charming. She's a charmer.
I'll bet you can cry. She can cry too. Think she can cry? Think she can do?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think she can do a cry. All right.
She seems like she's in the borderline anyway.
All right. Last clip.
Yeah.
But last month saw an onslaught. And while 154 missiles were shot down, 18 got through, killing 5 people. Good morning. The mayor of Kiev is therefore more circumspect.
Yes, of course. Blue sky, great weather, summer. It's peaceful atmosphere.
Dude, they are. Now I understand what they're doing. They're positioning it as over. It's done. Putin is spiraling. It's spiraling in Russia. They've got problems internally. It's all bad.
You always love to readjust all the input to your basic thesis.
Yes, of course, but this is what
Nice try.
This is what's happening.
Blue sky, great weather, summer. It's peaceful atmosphere.
The beaches are open.
But wait until he goes to, he has a little kicker, so it turns it back on you.
Okay.
Blue sky, great weather, summer. It's peaceful atmosphere.
Yes, the beaches are back open. Woohoo! Yeah.
But it's illusion.
It's an illusion.
It's illusion.
Oh.
It's any moment we can listen air alarm, bombing alarm. It's every moment in every building can be destroyed from Russian missiles.
Kyiv is full of outdoor cafes and bars. After the Russians were pushed back from the outskirts last spring, many people reverted to their old life, deciding that the odds of being hit by a missile or drone were acceptably small.
It was a semi-reverser. It wasn't a full 180. But I'm going to land the plane for us here. I'm going to tell you what's going on, what really happened. Because something took place. 2 boobs, not the kind of boobs you're thinking of. 2 boobs messed stuff up, and it had to be covered up. Because there is an operation underway that kind of became apparent, and so we had to call Wagner the dog group and do something about it. So here's the official narrative, the most recent narrative of why this took place. It's from France 24.
The head of the Russian mercenary group Wagner has issued what sounds like a declaration of war against his country's top military officials. Yevgeny Prigozhin posted an audio message today accusing the army of launching strikes on his own troops. In a separate video clip, he said that Moscow's invasion of Ukraine was based on lies by the military's leadership. His Wagner group spearheaded Russia's capture of the Ukrainian city of Bakhmut last month, a battlefield success that has allowed him to criticize Moscow with impunity. Now, the main target of Prigozhin's tirade is the Russian defense minister.
The defense ministry is trying to deceive the public and the president and tell a story that there was some crazy aggression by Ukraine and that together with the entire NATO alliance, they were planning to attack us.
There it is. So Prigozhin is sent in to dispel this crazy defense minister saying, hey, there's an attack coming and all of NATO is going to come in and go after us. I'm going to tell you that's true. We have to go first. Now, again, none of this is in the United States. Why would it be? Deutsche Welle. This is part of what is going to go down.
Tonight, Ukraine is warning of a possible Russian terror plot. Ukrainian President Zelensky says that Russian forces at the occupied Zaporizhia nuclear power plant are planning to cause a radiation disaster. The Zaporizhia nuclear power station is the largest in Europe. It has been under Russian occupation since Russia invaded parts of Ukraine last year. The International Atomic Energy Agency tried to negotiate a safety perimeter around the site, but to no success. And the IAEA says that the risks to and from the nuclear plant have only risen with the start of the Ukrainian counteroffensive this month, one being a possible release of radiation as a weapon to stop any Ukrainian troop advance.
Okay, so this...
Wait. Do we have any geographical evidence that those reactors are nowhere near where the troops are advancing?
No, this is not the point. The point is Russia, who of course blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, Russia, who of course blew up the dam they were in control of course they're first going to release radiation from the nuclear power plant to waft, and they probably will destroy it. The BBC is on the same track, a little more honest.
The threat of nuclear escalation is once more at the center of the war of words between Russia and Ukraine. 2 weeks after the destruction of the Kakhovka Dam, which raised fears for the safety of the Zaporizhia nuclear plant, President Zelensky says there's a new cause for concern.
Now our intelligence has received information that Russia is considering a scenario of a terrorist attack at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. A terrorist attack with radiation leakage. They have prepared everything for this.
The plant.
Yes, they are running the plant. Yes, they are.
Well, hold on. Let's get some logic here. So the Russians took over these plants to prevent the Ukrainians from screwing with them. And now terrorists, the Russian terrorists, they're running and guarding the plant.
Yes.
And there's Russian terrorists involved, and they're Russians guarding. I'm not getting this.
Again,
I'm not getting a clear picture of what's going on.
You're going to get the picture in a moment. You'll understand it exactly. So this is their reporting. This is propaganda. Obviously.
No.
Yeah, that's my point. It's so flimsy, but even this report ends with flims.
A terrorist attack with radiation leakage. They have prepared everything for this.
Mr. Zelensky didn't specify what evidence he had, nor what the attack would entail. Russia's denied the allegation, pointing to a recent visit to the site by the UN's nuclear watchdog, which concluded that the station could operate safely for some time.
Oh, that's a little bit of information we didn't get from Deutsche Welle. No, it's operating safely. Everything's okay. All right, so now let's take into consideration that
those are UN inspectors that came in.
Yes. Which in the Deutsche Welle report was, radiation.
Well, Deutsche Welle we know is
CIA, exactly. So let's just for argument's sake, say that it probably was, as Seymour Hersh described, it probably was the United States, as promised by President Joe Biden, who sabotaged the Nord Stream. He said they're going to do it. Let's just presume that the Russians didn't have, in fact, by draining the lake for their dam, they gave Ukrainian army forces a huge advantage. There's a huge dry lake they can now walk across instead of swimming. So let's just presume that what they're talking about here is a most likely U.S./NATO-led sabotage of the nuclear plant.
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
When you're on C-SPAN and you see Lindsey Graham and douchebag Blumenthal of opposing parties come together for a press announcement, you know something is wrong.
Thank you for coming. There's a lot of news to cover in Washington, and I appreciate y'all attending this news conference. We're going to do something different. We're not mad at each other. We're not trying to sanction each other.
No, you're laughing, telling already because you're in cahoots. You're up to no good, Lady G.
We're trying to work together on one of the most important issues affecting America's national security.
America's national security.
World stability.
Wow. World stability. Hold on. World stability.
And as the grievance campaign up here in Washington seems to be unending, Senator Blumenthal and myself have not taken our eyes off a defining moment, and that's the war in Ukraine. So we're introducing a resolution today, since the Senate resolution that says that if Russia or Belarus, or a proxy of Russia, explodes a nuclear device inside of Ukraine to stop the counteroffensive or to try to break the will of the Ukrainian people, such an attack should be considered an attack on NATO itself.
Okay, so he is, in essence, evoking a pseudo Article 5. He's saying, should Russia explode some kind of nuclear device? Now, Lindy Hop is not that stupid. Blumenthal is a turd because he lays it out exactly.
Poland is at immediate risk if the use of tactical nuclear weapons or destruction of a nuclear power plant causes radiation to spread, as almost certainly it would, causing significant human harm. This is not a kind of reckless or panicky resolution. It's based on fact and science. And it is meant to send a message to Vladimir Putin and even more directly to his military. Right. They will be destroyed. They will be eviscerated. If they use tactical nuclear weapons, or if they destroy a nuclear plant in a way that threatens surrounding NATO nations. Article 5 is there for a reason.
These assholes, sorry to say
Unbelievable.
These assholes...
This, by the way, stop.
Yes, I'm stopping.
Clip of the day.
Thank you. I'm bending over for it.
Clip of the day. We don't need that.
So, the Russian defense minister was right. He says, dude, they're setting up this huge op. They're going to blow up the power plant. Then they're going to invoke Article 5 because the radiation would waft over Poland. Waft over Poland. This is
Which is an attack on Poland, which is an attack on NATO, which is an attack on all of us. Correct.
This is an outrage. These maniacs need to be stopped. They're maniacs. Call your congressman and senator. Go out and protest now. I'm amazed at the
audacity is the word you're looking for.
Audacity, thank you. And also at the restraint that Putin. No wonder he looks worried. He looks worried because now he knows what they're up to, and that's what Hot Dog Boy had to go and distract from. No, don't look at those two old jackoffs trying to start war with NATO and Russia. Don't look at that. No, don't look at me. I'm Hot Dog Boy. I'm Hot Dog Boy. That's a real issue.
I think so. Now, the Russians, of course, have those plants under control at the moment. Yeah. I'm thinking they should shut them down. They should shutter those suckers as fast as they can.
Yep. And leave.
Cut all the power off.
And leave.
Yes. Shutter the plants and leave as fast as they can. And it would. I don't know how long it takes to shut down a nuke like that.
Abandoned ship.
They're big.
Abandoned ship.
Abandoned ship.
Get out. Get out.
Give it back to the Ukrainians and leave.
No, yeah. I mean, that's maybe the first time I've been a little bit concerned, but I think it's out and enough people know it, and we'll see what happens, because that's high stakes. And I don't know how well respected Lindsey Graham or Bob Blumenthal are, whatever.
They're highly respected.
Well, really?
By each party. Blumenthal is a big hero amongst the Democrats because he's a stooge, and Lindsey Graham's a stooge. They're both stooges.
Well, this needs to be stopped. I mean, and that it's true. And Putin should just come out and say, someone should come out and just say it. Hey, man, they're going to do something really nasty here. And they don't even need nuclear radiation wafting over. You can just say it. Look.
You can just say it and show up a Geiger counter, show a graph. Look at this. It's like, remember when the Fukushima went out? Yeah, next thing you know, we're being inundated here on the West Coast with radiation. If you listen to Alex Jones.
Here it is. Look, I'm here in Poland, John, and the Geiger counter is going off. It's going off the charts. Oh no, we're all going to die.
Here I am on the beach.
Exactly. Oh,
yeah.
It's an outrage.
You don't have to do it. You actually don't have to do jack. You just have to say you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I think it would still be. I don't think it would be an immediate knee-jerk reaction. In fact, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be. But that's all they need. And so, we're wrapping everything up over here in London. We split up the trillions of dollars of goods. We've set all the tax laws. Let's move this stuff along, man. We got the money. We got the $400 billion plus an extra $5 billion for Vlad, who got another $6.5 billion from our military. Or it's just a coincidence. It's the same number. I don't know. So everyone's set. Let's move this along, hot dog boy. Cover that up, because these two boobs went out there and did a press conference. Now it still has to be passed, the resolution. So there is opportunity to stop that. But what do you think the chances are that the
Senate's a bunch of Democrats,
warmongering senators of the United States government?
Oh, they're passing this thing in a breeze. If it doesn't go unanimous, I'll be surprised.
If it hasn't even been passed already.
Rand Paul will be the only
one. No, this is not a good idea. Oh, man. Now, if we follow the fractals of history, we may be in good shape. Someone sent this to me. I thought it was very interesting. 1918 to 1920, Spanish flu. 1917 to 1923, Russian Civil War. But in 1922, Ukraine loses its bid for independence and is annexed by Russia and the Soviet Union. Then President Harding dies in 2023. Hello, Joe. Amid scandals.
A lot of people think he was murdered.
Yeah, the Teapot Dome, a lot of scandals. And then we get Calvin Coolidge.
Silent Cal.
And then we get the Roaring 20s. And we're back to normal with cool-looking skirts.
Yeah, hats, flappers.
And hats. Yeah, Silent Cal. He was
Cloches.
Cloches?
That's the hat.
Yeah, those bead hats, those kind of beady hats.
Cloche. It's that funny shaped hat.
Never heard of it. Interesting.
It's a cloche. Yeah, look it up.
Cloche. I'm not going to, but I trust you.
Why bother?
Now, Kamala Harris, I'm gonna have to give it to you here. Just like Coolidge, who was former lawyer, governor, so Kamala Harris, former district attorney, senator, close enough to his background. He was known as Silent Cal, as you pointed out. Hands off at running the government, just let everything go, letting other people like the future President Herbert Hoover make decisions. I think Kamala would be a good choice then to bring in the Roaring 20s.
Smoke dope and laugh. And it's perfect for the Roaring 20s.
Yeah. So, and that would just be the fractal, God willing. That would be nice. So we'll see, but at least we know what to look at. Now we know what the scam is, what they're up against. And of course, they've hedged their bets, we have a revolt against Putin, against his government, maybe. I mean, narratives work, at a certain point.
They work if they're getting through, but Russia's locked down. They've cut off the press for good reason. I mean, I don't like the idea, but they've cut off the press because it's subversive.
Mm-hmm.
They got the NGOs out of town, and that's the big deal. And they on the lookout, and they're taking out their what they perceive as enemies. That's the way they're doing it. China's doing it is pretty much the same way. They're not putting up with letting us develop the narrative, because that's what we're doing. We're developing the narrative for these other countries. And, it works on our public and the EU. It doesn't seem to affect South America or Africa. Nobody's paying attention to us there. And which is irksome to everyone. Oh, I don't understand why Africa's not on board with condemning Russia.
Well, while we're at it, just as a quick aside, we can't play this clip often enough, the Wes Clark 7.
So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
So we're not quite at Iran yet, but there is an update on Sudan.
There are 2 wars going on in Sudan. One, between the army and the rapid support forces, is destroying the capital Khartoum, where heavy shelling and aerial bombardment are resumed over the last few hours.
Khartoum?
In the region of Darfur, there's a war against the non-Arab population. There are now reports that RSF fighters and Arab militias are encircling the capital of North Darfur, El Fasher, cutting off the roads leading out of the city. The same tactic was deployed before El Geneina was recently overrun, forcing hundreds of thousands to flee. There is growing evidence of ethnic cleansing. Human Rights Watch says international bodies need to act fast to halt the spiraling violence and horrific abuses.
I'm shocked to find out that rebelization's going on here.
There you go. Yeah, we're rebelizing Sudan, Khartoum, of course.
Where's Clooney?
Where's Clooney? I don't remember. Is there something going on and you need a distraction? Yeah, this is it. This is it? Oh.
Where's Clooney? What happened to Clooney? He was a big shot. He was a Darfur guy.
Yeah, something froze. My computer just froze, which is usually not a good thing. Yeah.
Not a good thing.
Usually not a good thing. Oh, here it is. This is the jingle we wanted.
You've got something going on and you need a distraction. Call Clooney. Call Clooney.
In fact, we could use him now more than ever.
George Clooney. George Clooney. George Clooney is a spy.
Yeah, Clooney used to be on deck, man, but this administration doesn't like him for some reason. I don't know why. They don't like him. He might have gone to MI5 or MI6.
I don't think he'd do that.
Maybe he's just retired. He's just tired of it all.
Well, I think he's more effective. He's doing a lot of more indie movies, and that's where he's really good.
Indie movies.
He's really good. I mean, he's got something out recently that just dynamite. He's got such a knack for developing popular movies that are indie. Small productions.
Yeah, he does have a knack.
And he's got, Tilda, what's her name, is in his entourage with 2 or 3. He's got these same old actors. Probably all of them are spooks. Mm-hmm. And they put together a product that is so good that what is he going to accomplish in Darfur?
What's interesting is CNN is not read in on this op. CNN, there's something going on there, and they're not read. This is
because of the new guys.
Yeah, the new guys, and they're not.
Want Malone knowing anything.
No,
but I've got to tell you, Wolf, it feels like we're missing some key facts here. It feels like we're missing something.
We're missing. Yes,
understatement.
But I've got to tell you, Wolf, it feels like we're missing some key facts here. It feels like we're missing something in the negotiations with Prigozhin, or something in his calculations. Did this just a long-planned effort, it seems, go too frighteningly well? Did he find himself too close to Moscow and decide to pull back? Has something else gone on that we're not aware of? It doesn't really make sense at this particular stage. What it does do, though, is embarrass the Kremlin and certainly show that Vladimir Putin is not the all-powerful man in Russia that he appeared to be more of 24 hours ago, Wolf.
It's also, as you say, utterly bizarre, and clearly Putin is vulnerable right now.
See, they're still working the old op, which is like, yeah, regime change. Yeah, we'll do regime change. Yeah, we'll change it from the inside. Meanwhile, Washington, D.C., douche haven, they're out there, yeah, let's blow up that plant. Let's invoke Article 5, NATO. That's the op, and they can't even figure it out. They're so dense. You want to hear the Obama Christiana Amanpour?
Yes.
Yeah, might as well.
So obviously hindsight is a great thing, 2020 vision is a great thing, but you experienced while you were in office Putin's first invasion, the annexation of Crimea. And many people said...
the first invasion... What about the Maidan thing? Did we miss that?
You nor the Western allies stood up and put enough red lines around him around that. Yeah. So what's your reaction to that? And I want to just add also your good friend and colleague, Angela Merkel, is under very serious criticism right now. I know you've just met with her recently.
Why is she under criticism? What did she do?
Is this thing new or is this an old report?
No, I think this is new.
Yeah, you sure? Because Angela Merkel's not in the news in any way, and she's not under any criticism.
Let me check.
Should she have leveraged, Germany's economy, its energy on the addiction to cheap energy in Russia? Was that a mistake?
I think the Ukraine of that time is not the Ukraine that we're...
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. I think Angela Merkel is now being blamed for the Energiewende. And so of course when Russia blew up their own pipeline, that's what really that's what really destroyed German industry. It's all her fault. Blame the old lady who keeps falling asleep.
Economy, its energy on the addiction.
Wasn't she she was teetering? She was teetering. Remember that? When she would start teetering and she would have to catch herself from falling?
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah. I'll look it up.
Cheap energy in Russia. Was that a mistake?
I think the Ukraine of that time is not the Ukraine that we're talking about today. There's a reason why there was not an armed invasion of Crimea, because Crimea was full of a lot of Russian speakers, and there was some sympathy to the view that Russia was representing its interests. The Rada at the time, the Ukrainian parliament itself, still had a number of Russian sympathizers, and the politics inside Ukraine were more complicated. And part of what happened was both myself, but also Merkel, who I give enormous credit for, had to pull in a lot of other Europeans kicking and screaming to impose the sanctions that we did and to prevent Putin from continuing through the Donbass into the rest of Ukraine. So I actually think that given both where Ukraine was at the time and where the European mindset was at the time, we held the line. And part of what happened was, over time, a sense of Ukrainian identity separate from Russia and nonsense. A determination to push back against Russia and an ability to prepare both militarily and civically to resist.
Yeah, but we much. Okay. She was shaking. That's what it was. Merkel was shaking. Do you remember this?
Right, I do remember the shaking, and it was there was some Parkinson's rumor.
Angela Merkel's spokesman has insisted that the Chancellor is fine. She's gone off as planned to the G20 summit of world leaders in Japan, leaving behind her, though, at home, real concerns about her health. Mrs. Merkel always appears to be in robust health. She has a punishing schedule. She's seen as a strong leader.
Anyway, yeah, she was shaking. She kept shaking at events. She was like, what's wrong with Angela? Yeah, so she's getting blamed. She's getting blamed.
No, it's like blaming Trump.
Yeah.
Always blame the guy before. That guy.
And of course, Christiana Amanpour failed to remind President Obama that his administration spied on Merkel. Literally
well, that wouldn't... I don't know how that would fit into the conversation that she's having.
Literally tapped her phone. Yeah. Man, oh man, oh man.
It'd be something to be worth seeing what he said about it. Well, it wasn't my idea.
Yeah. All right. So I think all we can do now is just wait. We just have to wait to see. I think it's Putin's move to make. He needs to do something, to some counter move.
Yeah, he's going to have. They've got him in an interesting position of kind of like he's either going to have to bail out of everything and just get the hell out of there, because he's being set up.
Yeah. That would be one way.
He's going to have to realize he's been set up.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, and he seems like a guy with a personality that wouldn't go for that, and it'd be, a lost face. And it would say, well, maybe the way to play it, it seems that, okay, say you've been set up. You've got to do some sort of a countermeasure to the setup that gives you the excuse to leave with face, because the worry is that he's going to have to admit he was wrong, which he can't do because he's the great leader, the czar, and they want him to have to do that because they do want regime change.
Yeah.
But they're not going to get it because he's too, I think he's too coy and cagey.
But do you think that all right, let's look at his options. Obvious options, just nuke all of Ukraine. Everyone dies. Seems like he's a little too level-headed for that. Because the world goes up. It's all over.
He's not insane. He's in good health, too. And he's got those pretty nurses. Oh, that was Brezhnev. Never mind. These Russians, I don't know. They're all the same.
Maybe the answer is Hot Dog Boy in Belarus. I'm not sure.
Hot Dog Boy. It's possible that the Belarusian guy's got to go. That would distract everybody. If you had a civil war in Belarus that was triggered by the Hot Dog Boy, who's been put in there as a Trojan horse.
Interesting.
That's a possibility. That would keep everyone go distraction of the month, and that would help him get out, and then he could. He's got to sneak. Right, he's got to sneak out.
Yeah, so he could be. Look, I got some problems here. I got Belarus. I got my tactical nukes there. I'm going to save the world. I got to take care of that. I'm leaving Ukraine for what it is.
There you go. Wait, he supposedly put some tactical nukes there, and now he's worried.
Yes,
and he doesn't want anything bad to happen. He's got some. So he could strategize his way out of this.
Yeah,
it's not going to be easy.
But he has to withdraw, but
he has to get out of there.
He has to get out of Ukraine. There's no other way. He has to, and he has to say, "We're out. Here's the plant's yours."
But he's not going to give without giving up Crimea.
No, he won't give up Crimea. But
no, and so he keeps that, and then gets out of those nuclear plants.
Yeah,
and put the Ukrainian engineers back in there. It's their fault after that.
Yeah, and everyone's kind of ready for it. They got the money, plus the VIG, the extra $5 billion.
He could also do a behind the scenes thing, saying he's going to do this, and they can just divvy up Ukraine all they want, which is what they're going to do.
Yes,
guys can divvy it up. I helped you here, if you think about it, and just stay off my back.
Yeah,
and kill these sanctions.
Pick up the red phone. Oh, the sanctions don't even matter.
No, the sanctions don't matter. Yeah, you're right. They're meaningless.
Don't matter.
But he's got to find he's got to do this. It's got to be fast.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got to be. I'm now going to switch to your side a little bit. This war has got to get over with.
Whoa. Yeah, by Wednesday. I say by Wednesday.
It's got to be done within a month.
Wow, I'm glad we solved that. He can give us a call if he needs some help.
Yeah, we can help.
Now, I would like to play let me see. Actually, just one clip. We can do more. Do you got any climate change? 'Cause there's something going on with climate change, too. Obviously not with the climate. Because,
I do have, let me see if I got the heat clip, because there's some action.
Yes.
Is it in China? China's got some, I got record heat in China. Ask Adam.
Oh, hold on a second. And Ask Adam?
Yeah, after the clip, I have a question.
Okay. Do I play the clip?
Yeah.
China broke a different kind of record today for heat. Temperatures in Beijing topped 104 degrees for a second day for the first time in more than 70 years.
All right. Ask Adam. The question is...
So there was the same thing 70 years ago. Is there a trend? I don't see it.
That's not a question. That's rhetorical. That's a goof, man. There's no question for me to answer. Okay. No, that's just all window dressing.
Did we have global warming 70 years ago?
Yeah, man. That's when it all started. Don't you remember? Yeah, it turns out the 19-inch rack just turned 100 years old.
The 19-inch rack.
Yeah.
There's humor there somewhere.
I know there's humor, but I'm also puzzled. What were we putting in 19-inch racks 100 years ago?
For people, most people don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about
an equipment
audio
rack.
Gear rack that they have in radio stations.
Could be computer gear.
Computer rack, yeah. There's all these racks. I have a wooden one, by the way. It was made for me, custom made.
That's what she said.
So that 100 years ago, which is not, that's when the radio first evolved.
Radio racks.
We were talking in 1923. Radio is just getting going like crazy. Because radio hobbyists were all in the early 1900s.
Right.
And everyone's, it's going to change the world. It's just exactly the same. I wrote an essay on this a long time ago.
In 1923, in fact, I think you wrote that too.
Yeah, I did. It was in 1923.
You wrote an essay, Substack.
It was the.
It was more, but it was 100 years ago, not 50 years ago. It's not 70 years ago. It was 100 years ago.
100 years ago is when radio was just really starting to rock.
Yeah.
1923.
And yesterday, all the hams came out and did field day. And I was.
Oh, did you go to that?
Well, I was going to, but then I was stuck making clips of C-SPAN of these two numbnuts trying to blow up the world.
Well, it's probably better
use of the time. Okay, so there's another scam going on. Wait until you hear the numbers of this one. Of course, this is an ongoing scam. This is climate change. It's so tiring. But now they've put numbers to it, and this is Macron is leading all this. They don't even call it the Climate Change Conference. They just call it the New Global Financial Compact or something like that. They're just going straight to calling it money. Hey, are you going to the Climate Change Conference? What's that? Oh, the money conference? Yeah, I'm going there.
Billed as a summit with substance, as countries on the front line of climate change scramble for a lifeline. The new Global Financing Pact in Paris, hosted by President Emmanuel Macron, brings together heads of state and government from over 80 countries. The aim, to financially back climate action.
Now, wait until at the end of this report, you'll hear us, the dummies, coming in to add our little bit to it.
C'est-à-dire celui de toutes celles et tous ceux qui sont en. It is a summit of all of those who are on the front lines in the face of population and planet degradation. And what we would like to build here, where the risks of divisions are great, is in effect a new consensus, not dictated from one place, but rather carried by those who are living through the consequences of climate change and deregulation. And we are fighting for a first plan to tackle poverty and its consequences.
Every day, the cost of climate change and inaction becomes dearer, mostly for developing countries facing the brunt of it. But now a new international monetary system is in the making, restructuring debt, reducing poverty, and crucially, offering support. And now targeting not only governments, but big banks to rebalance the books. The world's neediest nations, most at risk of global warming, have been left out of the climate conversation. With colossal costs estimated at $4 trillion a year to respond to the crisis, advocates are desperate to see meaningful commitments.
Yeah. Hey, we all want a part of $4 trillion a year. Yeah. And you know where it's going to come from? Janet Yellen.
Including building sustainable infrastructure.
That new infrastructure will be built to withstand extreme weather events so that when a typhoon or a hurricane strikes, roads will still be open to emergency vehicles and hospitals will still have electricity.
As the globe weathers the storm of climate change, all eyes are on Paris for answers.
Hey, Janet Yellen, why don't you fix the potholes there on John's highway? Why don't you do that
Highway
first?
80 here still got potholes.
Yeah, before you start fixing everyone else's hospitals and roads. What is up with these people? And what is Janet Yellen doing there? We're being ripped off.
Yeah, there you go.
We're being ripped off.
Ripped off.
Meanwhile, Siemens Energy shares plunge more than 37% as wind turbine worries deepen. Turns out they suck. They break.
Well, you did this one report. We should have marked that show as a special, where you went through the economics of the wind turbine industry and how it's a scam. Because you don't even remember doing this.
No, I don't.
It was a long report you did, and you showed that the numbers were only matched if there was a certain amount of government interference.
Oh yeah,
and blah blah blah.
Yeah, you have to have the subsidies.
You can't make money with those big, giant, expensive turbines. They don't last. They don't work that well.
No, they don't.
And yeah, they don't work that well. And those big props aren't cheap.
So now let's talk about dumb food, because that's part of the scam. It's like, how can we make more money off of these idiots? I don't know. Let's give them fake food. We're talking about Jose Andre.
I always can imagine somebody in a boardroom saying that.
Yeah. Remember, we're talking about Jose Andre, the chef?
Yeah.
That he's all in on
chicken.
On the lab meat, on the brewed chicken.
And before we leave this topic, I want to read parts.
Wait, I'm setting you up for the reading that parts of that email.
Oh, God, I got to go find the email. You remember who it was from?
I have the email here, but I thought, you actually put in the newsletter, we're going to read the email.
I didn't. I said we.
Jose Andre was one of the recipients of a $100 million donation from Jeff Bezos to spend however he wanted to. Just like, who's the guy from CNN? The black guy. You know who I'm talking about.
The black guy.
Yeah, the
Don Lemon?
No, the Nothing Burger guy. The Nothing Burger guy. Who was crying. Oh, come on. What's his name?
A black guy on CNN always says to me, Don Lemon.
Van Jones.
Van Jones? He got a bunch of money?
He got $100 million from Bezos as well. You don't remember that?
No.
Yes. He got 100. Bezos was given. Here we go.
So after returning from his quick trip to space, Jeff Bezos had two other big surprises in store for people today. He made charitable donations in the amount of $100 million each to two friends of this program, that are the money's
friends of this program
to be used as they see fit. They're CNN political commentator and former special advisor to President Obama, Van Jones, and Chef Jose Andres, founder and driving force behind World Central Kitchen.
There you go. So no wonder Jose Andre is like, yeah, brew my chicken, baby. I got 2 Michelin stars. I'm going to get a third for this chicken.
Well, he's not getting any Michelin stars if he starts using that chicken.
You don't know how corrupt the Michelin star system is. I watched The Bear. The new season's on, Chef.
Yeah, Mimi told me that too.
I love that show.
I don't like the show. I
love that show. Hi, guys. I'm a former pre-vaccination refusal molecular biologist, nationally accredited through the American Society of Clinical Pathologists. In addition, I have grown billions of cells in culture in both petri dishes and bioreactors in my life. I've been listening to these lab-grown meat reports on the show for years now, and I can't believe nobody has brought up the elephant in the room. In any cell,
when he said that, you figured it out. It was one of those forehead slaps. I said, I could have brought this up. I knew this.
In any cell culture, whether HeLa cells for research, bone marrow biopsies for diagnosis of cancer, or more apropos, cells being grown for meat production, the cells are cultured in, quote, media. This media is extremely important for cell growth. At risk of becoming a short Russian novel, please allow me to elaborate. Do you want to elaborate?
Well, elaborating, I can just shorten it to the following.
Yes.
To make the meat grow, it doesn't just form out of thin air. In other words, a piece of chicken doesn't just crop up out of nothing.
You need FBS.
It has to have nutrients.
FBS. Like FBS. You got to name it. FBS, fetal bovine serum.
In this case, it's fetal bovine. It's taken from animals. It's
from embryos, my friend. They're killing little embryos.
They're killing little embryos to make the meat that turns into chicken.
Wow, that's it. Just repeat that, please. They're killing little beef embryos to make the chicken.
Yeah,
animal friendly. No kill meat.
So this is, when you think about it, it's like convoluted. way of, it's just ridiculous. It's like when you can pump oil out of the ground, why would you make it synthetically? Unless it had some special qualities like a synthetic oil does for your car. But that's beside the point. The point is bull crap. The whole idea is bad.
And in addition to that, now we know why they're downplaying you don't have to have cow farts, because to produce this is about 25 times the amount of so-called carbon dioxide pollution, climate change gas as it would be in just eating a beef. Because of all these processes. He actually went through some of that in his email. I put the email.
The email's dynamite. It's long. He's borderline War and Peace.
Yeah, but I took his name out.
But as soon as he sent that in, I went, oh, God, obviously.
Of note, a 0.5 bottle of FBS costs around $250 last time I checked. This is in addition to the defined part of the media, which comes with its own costs, financial and environmental. Imagine the energy required to put defined quantities of salts, amino acids, and vitamins in a plastic bottle, ship it to its destination, then the labor required to fine do the work of producing the cells. I guarantee this is more effort than it takes to hatch a chicken, feed it some combination of commodity grains and legumes.
Yeah, and chickens eat bugs.
Oh, man, did you see the latest bug thing? Also food, as they call it. This is happening out west.
It is happening right now. A small town under invasion.
Oh, it's disgusting. It's so gross.
This is Elko, Nevada, besieged by Mormon crickets.
It is disgusting. They're literally everywhere.
Ground Zero, the once quiet home of Colette Reynolds.
It was very apocalyptic feeling. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Everything you eat looks like a Mormon cricket.
Colette says it felt like living in the Old Testament.
Oh my God.
And did it feel that way to you? Did it feel biblical?
I prayed a lot about it.
The critters are a migratory menace. They've plagued farmers here since the 1800s.
Thousands of acres are infested.
An outbreak like this can last up to 6 summers. The pests normally stick to the desert and away from people, but this time they found their way into town. And this is what Elko, Nevada looks like right now. A town covered in millions of these crickets. They're not aggressive. They don't sting. They don't bite. But that doesn't mean they aren't causing problems. Killing them only attracts more because, well, they eat their own dead. Both gross and a hazard.
I feel like I hear them crunching.
Roads can easily become slick with bug juice. And the smell.
It just smells like dead, rotten bugs everywhere, all the time.
The hospital, a scene out of a horror movie.
We had people out there with leaf blowers, with brooms, trying to keep the sidewalks clear.
The swarm has mostly moved on, but there are a lot of bugs left hopping around, and a lot of mental anguish lingers. A reminder of the futility of man facing Mother Nature.
So they're called the Mormon crickets, or also, and I love this, manna from heaven. That was the actual title of the report from NBC, manna from heaven, which is biblical from Exodus, where God fed his people with this nice little bread, kind of honey product that fell from heaven. So they're just saying, hey, it's
you can eat these things, sure.
Yes, exactly, and they're Mormon.
Now the thing is, this cricket, I think, when did they begin? I don't remember, and I'm old, that they've ever been called Mormon crickets.
No, of course not. This is a whole. This is
a new op.
Yes, it's an op. Of course it is.
Anti-Mormon op.
Yeah.
To associate these crickets with those horrible Mormons, which are not even. They don't even want to be called Mormons. They're sick of being called Mormons.
They eat themselves.
They're Latter-day Saints, and they've finally gotten around to saying, "Look, hey, stop calling us Mormons, will you? Call us Latter-day Saints." Because Mormons now considered derogatory. So, you don't want to be called Mormons anymore? Well, let's name a swarm of crickets the Mormon crickets. How do you like that?
Take that, Mormons.
What is this more anti-Mormon op?
Yeah, well, it's
got something to do with what's going on, because the Mormon, with the exception of George Romney, Or Mitt Romney, sorry. Romney. What am I thinking? George Romney. Well, hey, it's his fault.
I agree. George Romney.
So, Mitt Romney, the rest of these guys, Mike Lee, whose office is, by the way, I tried to get in touch.
You tried to call Mike Lee's office? Really?
Oh, they're jerks.
Oh, goodness.
They're really, I call these different senators and congressmen's offices every so often to get a press release or get on their mail, do whatever. Mike Lee's office, absolute jerks.
Wow.
And
is he a Mormon?
They're all what do you think?
I guess so.
Of course, he's in Utah.
Oh yeah.
So there's something they're pushing back, and I have to say this has to be some sort of intelligence thing. It has to do with the NSA or the CIA or somebody.
They got all the big liquid cooled data centers out there.
Something's up, and so they've decided to humiliate the Mormons by calling these crickets Mormon crickets.
Yeah, and
I'm sure of it because there's never been called that before, and the Mormons are irked about being called Mormons. So there you have it.
And we have a lot of Latter-day Saints who listen to the show and donate.
And they're all going to say, besides, they're going to say, we should donate more to the show.
That's exactly right.
Besides saying that, they're going to say these boys are right.
That's right. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage in the morning to you, the man who put the C in the Mormon crickets. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to my friend on the other end, the one and only Mr. John C. Dvorak.
Well, sorry I stepped on you. In the morning to you, Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to the trolls who are hanging out in the troll room. Let's count them. Hands up, trolls. Hands up.
Choke out.
Like crickets, they go 2505. Now that's a number I can respect.
That's the number that it should be.
And everything reflects it. We've got, by the way, for those of you who are thinking of fast forwarding or leaving if you're listening live, we have our special guest interview coming up along with our clip of the segment and, of course, the secret number that you can only get if you listen to the entire donation segment. And if I may, just before we launch into this, remind everybody that now moving on 16 years in October, we have been doing this program value for value. At the moment where advertising is collapsing, the whole, subscribe to all the shows you like, no one can afford it. You can't afford subscribing to all the streaming things that you like.
You can't. It's too expensive.
We always knew that if we just said, hey, here it is, take the show, listen at your will.
We didn't always know this.
We always knew we were never going to make money on it. That's what we always.
Well, there's that. We always
knew that. We knew that. We said, instead of us trying to fight the man to be brand safe and suitable, just listen to the show, take the show. Is it worth something to you? Look inside your soul and send it back to us as value. And over time, value has come in many different forms. Of course, servers, websites, information, boots on the ground, clips, all of that. But also, the majority of people really can't contribute in any other way than what we all have, and that's finance, treasure. And we just want you to value that. We're not looking, we're not like some nonprofit here, like, help the poor boys, they could GoFundMe. I got to note yes, I didn't even forward it to you. People were mad about you about something. It's like, we're never going to support anything John C. Dvorak does. I'm like, well, what is that? I mean, so you're going to listen, you're going to take the value. Well, we feel it's valuable. Of course it's valuable what you give us.
What did I do?
Oh, it's a whole, I don't even want to get into it. I defended you.
Well, thank you for that, but I'd like to know what
it would only make you mad.
What these idiots had to say.
Well, they're not idiots, but I'll tell you. They were upset because when the PayPal apocalypse happened, which hurt us severely, because we had we had people who were using PayPal on monthlies. That was kind of our base, like we have a base. Yeah. And then people gave it up, and you were very mad, and you wrote a scathing email newsletter that said
2 years ago.
Yeah, that said that people who did that, they were hurting the show. And people took that as, you're just a scammer. I'm telling you, that's what the email said in like 1,000 words. And I defended you. I said,
2 years later?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, look, we all say stuff that doesn't land right with people. And that did hurt us. It did hurt us. It hurt us a lot. But people felt that you were blaming them for standing up against the evil finance empire. You understand?
I'm a bad person.
Yeah, repent. Repent. There you go. He just repented. We're good to go. Anyway, time, talent, and treasure. We really do need the treasure because this is what we do. This is how we pay the bills. This is how we eat. And we don't want to be eating no brewed chicken, if you don't mind. It's going to be expensive anyway. So we just ask you to whatever it's worth to you. And we can't put Silicon Valley tries to value everything. Oh, this is going to be 99 cents, this song. It might be worth 900 cents to you. You know, like, oh, you have to subscribe for $20 a month. You may want to do $200. We don't know how much you have. That's up to you. But we do appreciate if you reciprocate.
Well, there are a lot of people that do direct deposits. Some people have managed to get Zelle to work.
Yeah. It's basically ACH done with an email identifier. It's pretty interesting how that works.
But it's not the way you can't get it to work with Mechanics Bank. You have to actually set it up.
I know.
You can make it work with any amount, but you have to set the whole thing up on your end.
Yeah, we don't recommend doing it.
It's convoluted. There's only 2 or 3 people I know that do it. And I've asked them about it.
We're going to get that Fed Now coming up in July. That's going to work great for us. I think it'll be beneficial.
Okay. I've asked about how they did it, and they said, yeah. And I said, is there, it's not duplicable. You have to do it at your bank. It works. Some of the credit unions have a method, and they can do it, and they can send it right into the bank if they get the bank account number. There's other people that have used Swift. They've used the regular thing. That costs us $10 a transfer.
So don't poo-poo Fed Now, dude, because it's only going to cost $4.
You're not going to see it. If we see it, I'll say, okay, great, we can use it. But
it'll be 4 cents a transaction, and we will see it. You'll see it.
That's bull crap. There's no way that that's going to happen. All these big boys. What do you mean 4 cents?
It's happening in next month. Yes, it's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
I'll take all the 4 cent transactions you want to send.
Yes. And then, the government will be able to say, hey, let's cut these guys off.
They can say that now.
Yeah, but it's much easier and more fun when you can do it through something called Fed Now. I mean, come on. We'll give them a crackpot theory.
You can also send checks to Box 339, El Cerrito, California, 94530. That's Box 339. El Cerrito. That will the absolute best way.
You can find all the information here.
Dvorak.org/NA.
We've made it easy. You just have to look up how to spell Dvorak. Okay. Now, there's another way that a lot of value comes to us is the No Agenda artists. And I think I have mentioned that we have changed our artwork almost, every single episode for I don't know how many episodes, but it goes way back.
At least since episode 100.
Right.
Or more.
It's part of the spec. Apple is actually discussing, hey, maybe in the new version we'll have the artwork per episode available. Okay, Apple. Now.
That's the second time you've made that noise.
Yeah, I know. I love this. I love the artwork because, if you look at a podcast app, it's always kind of the same stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, what is this? Did I subscribe to that? What is this thing? Oh, it's the No Agenda guys, of course. Look at those artists. They're crazy. And the artists do this while we're doing the live stream. They're whipping stuff up and getting it ready and uploading it. Anyone can do that. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. And, of course, all the images that are uploaded there, well, not all, but a lot of them get used in our chapters, which is Dreb Scott does. And these are in the new podcast apps. You can find it at podcastapps.com, which also has the troll room all built in. You don't need anything other than that, and it's compatible with all your old podcast subscriptions, so no worries. And we thank Brad1X, who has had a couple of wins over the past few years. He nailed it with the No Agenda Tumors, lab-raised chicken and nuggets with sweet and sour agar sauce. It was, we laughed. We laughed out loud several times about this piece of art. Even though there were others, this was the one that really nailed it.
Yeah, and that's the one. They also corrected me because it's in a petri dish. It's usually agar, whatever they call that stuff, as opposed to what I said, which is guar.
That's a rock band heavy metal band that has weird outfits.
I think guar makes the McDonald's shakes thick.
Let's see. There were some submarine things. There was some. There were lots of. What was a close one? There were a couple of ones that we liked. One was the brewed chicken, I think. What was that?
Homebrewed chicken? That's a nice piece.
Yeah, the homebrewed chicken was a nice piece. Yeah, which was, who did that? That was Tanta Neil.
You like the 33 tumors kill-free meat from Dame Kenny Ben.
It was so disgusting to see the chicken in there.
The chicken with thumbs up, 33 tumors.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's funny. It was funny, but it wasn't going to get picked.
There were some people who tried data gloves and controllers.
Oh, yeah, data gloves, and there also that
sub stuff,
submarine immersible.
Yeah, that didn't really fly.
Yeah, especially when it was on the Dead Watch thing with Queen Elizabeth. That was
what?
Yes. Correct the records. He's been doing this piece. He's done one. We picked one some time ago.
No, what's this,
Dead Sub?
What's the Queen Elizabeth Death Watch thing? What are you talking about? You're just making.
That's the piece that has the dead people on the in the clouds.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I know what you said. Yeah, it didn't work.
No,
it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Didn't work.
Sick.
No.
Sick.
A lot of Taste Like Chicken, some Build Back Better. No, this was the one. I mean, it was clear, and then we're like, Brad won X, who's this? And then we look at him, he's had at least 3 wins.
Yeah, he's had a number of wins, and they're all very creative. He's a good artist.
Very good artist. We thank you, Brad 1X, and we thank the work of all of our artists who diligently work on this. And they congratulate each other on noagendasocial.com, which is great. God, all kinds of people putting pushback on me. Hey, man, don't be so harsh about memes. They're good for turning people onto the show and talking to family about stuff and explaining things in an easy manner.
Who said this to you?
It was on No Agenda Social.
Oh, you poor baby! You got criticized for putting down the memers.
No, I don't mind the criticism. I'm surprised that people took my criticism of memes so seriously. It's like, I don't care. You do whatever you want. I'm just saying, whenever I look at No Agenda Social,
I like them. I use them. I got to look at those memes for the newsletter. I always pick 1 or 2 out that are pretty good. A lot of them are really lame. Have you noticed that most memes really stink?
Yeah, and people, they're proud of having 10,000 memes.
Lousy
memes in a folder.
Instead of having 1 or 2 good ones, they have like one after another after any meme. There's a meme, let me post it.
Listen to this from Sir Snide. With respect, I find your comments about memes harsh.
With respect is always a bad sign.
That's never good. I find your comments about memes harsh. Your talk about the community and memes seems to me to be in conflict. I find the memes useful. I can stay off Reddit and iFunny. There's a site called iFunny?
I never heard of it.
I like the dad memes the best. I like others as it helps me talk about current events in a non-argumentative way with my friends outside of No Agenda. That may be true. I also see the show art as specialized memes, so it seems wrong to talk up the show art, but talk down other memes. Please reconsider. Signed, Baronet Sir Snide. PLL. And I'm like, that's okay. That's fine. What did I say? What did I actually say? Please.
You didn't say much of anything. You bitched about using the bandwidth, I think, one time.
Yeah, that's what it was about, the bandwidth and the storage. No, I replied to this guy, oh, Lordy. I said, please.
Oh, there you go.
Everybody post your top meme to me in this thread. Apparently, they have healing power. So I'm waiting. And no one has posted one yet.
Yeah, you're a wise ass.
Yeah, I'm a wise ass. Exactly. That's it. Let's thank our executive and associate executive producers for episode 1567, kicking it off with Sir David from Bel Air, Texas, who comes in with 666.67. And, well, a second, let me open up my jingles folder because people have asked me to do jingles today, and I pre-produced them. And says, Rubberlizer and ClimateGate, please. Okay. No problem. We got that. ITM, gents. I turned 67 for show 1567 on Sunday. Coincidence? I think not. Please accept this donation that brings me to Baron status. I request the Brazos Bottomlands as my protectorate. Is that okay? The Brazos Bottomlands as his protectorate?
Oh, yeah.
You think that's okay? I didn't think it would be
I'm
a
looking
problem.
it up. This is fine.
Sir David, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
India, Tango, Mike. Stand by. 33, 33, 33. Rubberlizer out.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate gate.
Next on the list is Sir David of Ross, and he's from No City Provided, USA. Whatever, there's a little humor there. 58217. Dear John and Adam, it's always been an honor to be an executive producer of the best podcast in the universe. Some of my most treasured moments are when the No Agenda newsletter arrives cheerfully and thoughtfully into my inbox 2 times each week. He actually wrote that. You can imagine my disappointment when, as we now know, evil MailChimp decides to censor and cancel John's voice and truth regarding trans-Maoism or CBDCs this summer or Michelle Obama's presidential campaign.
I hate it when that happens.
I wish John used Federated Computer for the newsletter. For only $39 a month, John can get a great MailChimp replacement. Get off Google for email. No more Zoom spying on his calls. Be completely happy and free. That's federated.com computer or .computer. Okay. Use the coupon code No Agenda Nation for 30% off your order. I love you guys forever, Sir David of Ross.
He actually sent us a free setup. It's pretty interesting.
I didn't get the setup.
No, he sent. Trust me, he's smart. He sent it to me, so I will set up an account for you, and it literally has all these things in it. It's like you don't know what an Umbrel is or a Start9. It's like one of these self-hosted computers, except it's in the cloud. So it kind of negates the whole idea, but it's replacements. You'll like it. You'll like it. It's got
if you say so, I probably will.
Yeah, it's got Nextcloud in there, and it's noagenda.computer. I haven't set up a page there yet, but yeah, it's a new service. They're trying. Clearly they are providing value here. Thank you.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
We will. Frank Duivenoord, or Duivenoord, Duivenvoorden, Frank Duivenvoorden, North Vancouver, British Columbia, Scandinavia, $5.50 from Canada. Used to donate in US. This is $7.57 Canadian. This makes me note to John's email.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
There's no note from anyone named Frank. His last name, I can't pronounce. And I went through the trouble of going to PayPal and digging through the donations to find his so I could get his email address.
Yes.
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
There's nothing from his email address.
Did you email his email address and say, hey, we got nothing?
It was this morning I did this. I only get this spreadsheet when you do.
So what do we do? Do we do...
We're knighting him as Frank whatever, and then
Sir
he can
Frank?
change it later.
Okay. All right, Frank. Welcome. Thank you. We'll give him a double up karma since we didn't get a real note from him.
You've got double up karma.
You want to do this?
Valentino Argero, I'm guessing, in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And he says, he says, please name me Sir V. He's also an upcoming knight.
Yes.
34567. Great donation number. I humbly request a tomahawk ribeye and Lagavulin 16 at the round table. Head over to Castellano.com for all your beard grooming. Oh, this is the beard guy.
Castellano, I think it is.
It's CASTELSILANO.com. You can rewind that if you want to write it down if you have a beard. He has all this beard stuff.
I actually use his stuff. I don't have a beard, but I use the The
Use it
beard
on your
stuff.
hair?
No, after shaving. I use it after shaving. It's really nice.
Thanks for all you two do. Jingles, a drone again, and Putin on the Ritz.
A drone again, naturally.
Don't worry. Be happy.
I don't think that's Putin on the Ritz.
Don't worry.
Oh,
be happy.
I'm sorry. I did the wrong one. He wanted Putin on the Ritz. Well, good. And we get to do 2 good jingles. Putin on the Ritz. I don't know why I messed that one up. I'm sorry.
If you're blue and you don't know where there's fake news, why don't you get your Gitmo fix? Putin on the Ritz. Dressed up like $1 million trooper, trying not to look like Anderson Cooper. Super pooper. Come, let's mix where John Podesta walks with kids. Oh, I mean pizzas in his mitts.
Jesus.
Putin on the Ritz.
There you go. Fixed. Sir Gonzo is in El Paso, Texas. And he comes in with our standard stock, but oh so loved 333.33 switcheroo. I'm submitting the 333.33 for my son, Thomas Gold. All credits are for him. Switcheroo has hereby been initiated. This show has provided a lot of great information and perspectives of current and important events, and I've enjoyed every minute. It is also filled with very supportive producers for anyone in need. We ask in the No Agenda Nation to promote and support his first book, titled, Hey Dad, I Don't Like You. Just in time for Father's Day. Hey Dad, I Don't Like You, an illustrated book about the raw emotions and complex feelings of a challenging father-son relationship. Kickstarter dropped on Father's Day. Check it out, share it, and give some support. You can search Kickstarter with the book title, which is Hey Dad, I Don't Like You. Thank you for your courage, from Sir Gonzo. P.S. If you have any other questions about the book, you can reach out to him at support@heartsofgoldcreative.com. Nice. I'll look for it.
It's a winner.
Yeah.
Bowman McMahon in Utopia, Texas. Where is that?
It's not far from here.
That's the right answer. 333.33. John Adam, pardon the mix-up when you said my first donation as being from Greg Carlwood. What I meant to say was I found y'all's show via Greg Carlwood's podcast after Adam's appearance on the Higher Side Chats, hence the Greg Carlwood donation.
Higher Side Chats donation. Got it. All right.
Okay, well, thank you for the donation to clear up the other donation.
We have Sir Scotland the Brave, a knight here, from Burntisland in Fife, Great Britain, 333. Sir Scotland the Brave here from the Kingdom of Fife. There we go. Aberdour, to be exact. I'm in a dilemma. Do I go onward from Sir to Baronet, or do I de-douche my righteous hot wife to enable her damehood? Alas, I cannot rule the Kingdom of Scotland without her, so this is a switcheroo. Oh, man. Can I ask for a de-douching of my Queenie, Scottish slang for wife? Yes.
You've been de-douched.
And that you hold the title Dame...
You should be doing this with a Scottish accent.
I don't think so. And that you hold the title Dame Scotland the Brave for when she lets go of her grip and donates to damehood. Also, she just officially retired this week. Lastly, calling out... So what do I put in there? I guess for today we put future Dame Scotland, I guess, to make it easy. Because it's not easy. Because, you didn't give me anything to put in there for the switcheroo. Okay, there we go. Done. Lastly, calling all loons and queenies, we are wanting a meetup in Scotland, so can all you sirs, what?
That'd be great.
Sirs, dames, producers, laddies, and lassies in this great land of Caledonia. Email me at sirscotlandthebrave@gmail.com to arrange a meetup, and let's have a wee dram and a knees up. Thank you again, John and Adam, for the brawest podcast in the universe, Sir Scotland the Brave. And he says, Adam, can you amend the call out for Elizabeth for her birthday and retirement and change that to future Dame Scotland the Brave? I did it. Blessings and thanks to you both, because there's also a birthday in there. Done. Thank you, sir.
So it's Sir Scotland the Brave @gmail.com.
Yes.
So Sam LeMay in Bedford, Kentucky, 333. Thanks for all you do. The No Agenda Show continues to help me through all the propaganda. Signed, Sam.
333 from Sir Richard of Burbank, north of the 5. 333. That's all. No note, so a double up karma for him. Thank you very much, Sir Richard.
You've got karma.
Steve Brock in Springfield, Missouri comes in with the 233, so he becomes associate executive producer, and he wants a de-douche.
You've been de-douched.
And he wants to call out Bob. Bob from Springfield.
As a douchebag.
Yeah.
Done.
Got it.
Sir Cal of Lavender Blossoms, who doesn't know it, lavenderblossoms.org in Northville, Michigan, 227.72. Thanks for all you do. Hey, it rhymes. Sir Cal of lavenderblossoms.org. Thank you very much, Sir Cal. Great products, lavenderblossoms.org. If you're looking for some CBD with lavender, this is the product for you.
Yeah,
you will
it doesn't
not be disappointed.
stink.
It doesn't. No, it smells great, actually. It smells great.
Here she is, Linda Lupatkin. She's back from Lakewood, Colorado, 20567. Jobs karma for all the jobs hunters out there. And for a competitive edge, go to imagemakersinc.com for all your executive resume and job search needs. Or just find Linda Lupatkin under the show's executive producer list and run a search.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
All right, then we have Christopher Warren from La Crescent, Minnesota, 202.02. Nice. In the morning, John Adam, first time donating. So I guess we'll do a de-douching since you didn't ask for it. I'm giving it to you.
You've been de-douched.
First time donating, and it's to wish my parents, Todd and Bonnie, a happy 40th wedding anniversary. 40 years, and they never had a fight. That's June 25th, 1983. Please call out Mark Schmidt in Minneapolis as a douchebag. Douchebag. Mark hit me in the mouth last August, and your media deconstruction has been an invaluable addition to my life. It's easily the best podcast in the universe. Lastly, I humbly request law school karma as I begin at the University of Florida in August, and I'm 100% going to need it. Jingles, mac and cheese, and some vocal fry. I'm going to presume that's the iPad? I guess so. Thanks again for all you do. Wishing you and your loved ones all the best. May you never find an exit strategy. Pax Christi. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. Chris Warren in La Crescent, Minnesota.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese, cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese. Obviously, I read the New York Times like all day long, mainly on my iPad app.
Never grows old. Never grows. I got a text from one of the devs over there at Podcasting 2.0. He says, I'm in a meeting right now, and this lady literally is talking like the iPad lady. I said, record her.
Yeah.
I don't think he did.
Probably not. Ben sits up, $200.33. Simple. ITM, gents. Please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
Yikes. No jingles, no karma.
That's right. Hey, John and Adam, says David Belanger, Walnut Creek, California, $200. And I think he's our final associate executive producer. Hey, John and Adam, on Father's Day, I was blessed with the gift of a son. We named him Frederick Hoy Belanger. What do you think? How do you pronounce it? H-O-A-I. Hoy? Hoy!
I don't know. I have no idea.
In honor of my hero, the late, great Freddie Mercury. My beautiful wife, Nancy, is a trooper, and I just want to say I love you, Bae. B-A-E. Also, please de-douche my daughter, Margot. And our new son, Freddie.
You've been de-douched.
Oh, they're pre-de-douched. Beautiful. Last time I donated a few years ago, I requested cancer karma for my mom, but she passed away September 29th, 2021. My mom never got to meet her grandson, but I did expose her to your show a few times, and she loved your takes on a variety of different topics. Thanks for making her laugh along with me. I miss you every day, Ma. Thanks for the posthumous Father's Day gift. Shout-outs to Sir Jeffrey B. Marcy. We met at a No Agenda meetup in Oakland a few years back. Over the years, we've become good friends through a meetup in Walnut Creek where John signed our ham radios. I remember that one. And he helped me move a couch. What? Well, did you help move the couch or this other guy?
I guess.
No, it must have been his friend. He's a Canadian, but we won't hold it against him. Jingles, stop laughing, shut up. Oh, yes, Rubblizer and chemtrails.
Don't laugh. Why you are laughing? Shut up. Shut up.
India, Tango, Mike, stand by. 33, 33, 33. Rubblizer out.
Chemtrails.
And that wraps up our executive.
I also want to say 73 to David Belanger at the KM6TMZ.
Yes, 73s, Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie Charlie. And thank you to these executive and associate executive producers. These titles are real. Go ahead, look them up on IMDb. No Agenda. You'll see over 700 people have registered there, and it's accepted, of course, because they are real titles. You did exactly what executive and associate executive producers do, and you can use them anywhere. And these are forever. These never expire. And of course, if anyone questions you, what are you drinking today?
My last can of Polar seltzer.
Any particular flavor or just straight up?
Just plain seltzer.
If anyone questions you about the validity of these titles, we'll vouch for you. Go ahead, just email us. And once again, thank you for supporting the No Agenda Show, episode 1567.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Squirrel!
Shut up, Slade!
Shut up, Slade!
I'm feeling good today, man. We've done some good stuff already. I'm liking it.
Yeah, it's all downhill from there.
No. There was one other. Actually, I don't want to do that. I have a motion. And I'd like to move somewhere else. Let me see. Yes, I'd like to move because I saw that you have clips on it. I'm just going to presume the trans law report is about trans Maoism.
It's about, yeah, I think it is.
Well, why don't you go check your clip
list? It's an awful long bunch of clips.
Well, you set it up. I'm going to start.
It's about trans Maoism, but what's interesting to me is the way that, and PBS is the liberal outlet, has done worse than ever. They're all in on the memes, gender affirming care.
I mean, we keep forgetting the word for it. Not the extractions, the euphemisms.
Yeah, the phony euphemisms, and they've got a new switch. They've done a switcheroo here, though. And we'll get to it as we play these clips. This is about the laws, the anti-trans laws, which are not anti-trans; they're
mutilating children,
anti-mutilation laws. And if the Republicans would promote them as anti-mutilation laws. They don't. The Republicans are no good at.
I think they do, or they say this.
I don't notice this.
No, well, hello. The media is the one that just says anti-trans. They had genocidal laws. It's genocide.
Well, if you give me a clip of some Republicans saying anti-mutilation laws,
okay, I'll look for one.
Then I will give you a clip of the day.
Okay, I'll find it. No problem.
Here we go.
A raft of anti-LGBTQ legislation and mostly Republican-led.
This right here, just to stop for a second, sorry. A raft of anti-LGBTQ legislation. Is this against lesbians or gays or bisexuals? This needs to stop.
You're not stopping it because these people are shameless. It's unbelievable. I knew that would get you right away, and that's the tone of the whole report. But the switcheroo, the switcheroo is the one that really gets me.
A raft of anti-LGBTQ legislation in mostly Republican-led states now faces mounting legal challenges. Laura Barone-Lopez is back with a look at those cases and their broader implications.
This is the Lopez lady.
Transition-related medical care for minors, but measures in at least...
Wait, hold on. We're stepping on it. This is too good to step on.
Laura Barone-Lopez is back with a look at those cases and their broader implications.
Transition-related medical care for minors, but measures in at least 5 of those states have now been permanently or temporarily blocked from taking effect. To discuss the legal challenges around these laws and where they go next, we're joined by Danielle Weatherby, a law professor at the University of Arkansas who focuses on LGBTQ legal issues. Professor Weatherby, thank you so much for joining. Arkansas was the first state to ban gender-affirming medical care for minors, but this week a federal judge ruled that ban unconstitutional, making it the first ever ruling to overturn such a prohibition. Can you explain the judge's determination in this case?
His determination was that Act 626 was unconstitutional for 3 reasons. First, he said that the act violated the Equal Protection Clause to the extent that it discriminated on the basis of sex.
What?
That's why I stopped it there. Because that's what I said.
It discriminates on the basis of sex? So you're not allowed to have mutilating care if you're trans, I guess.
No, you're allowed to have it. You must have it. The law was prohibiting it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The law was prohibiting that. It's like, because everyone else can have mutilating care?
Believe me, I have no idea.
Okay.
It just sounds idiotic.
All right.
Here we go. Let's continue.
Second, he said that it usurped the parental right to make well-informed medical determinations on behalf of their minor children.
Okay. Oh, no, I'm all in. I'm all in for this. I'm all in.
Stop this for a second. They're using parental rights,
yes,
as a reason to ban these laws.
Yes, to mutilate. Yeah, you have the right to mutilate your kid.
You do, but the fact that they're tricking the kids, or they're not talking to the parents in the first place, or they're doing it behind the parents' back, all that, that doesn't make any difference. Because this whole thing, these laws are about parents' rights.
Yes.
That is what they're trying to prove here.
But now, I would say that as long as it's not being done behind the parents' back, yeah. Yes, absolutely. You should, as a parent, you have total control over your child, and if that's what you want to do,
done behind the parents' back, and that's not being addressed.
No, I know, but that's not is that even in the law? Because most of these laws,
it doesn't matter because the whole thing got thrown out anyway. Okay, let's continue.
Okay,
and this is a right that is implicated by the substantive due process clause. And then finally, he said that this act violated treating physicians' First Amendment rights insofar as it prohibited them from consulting with their patients about the gender-affirming care.
Wow.
Okay, so the three things were...
That's a stretch. I like that
sexual, one. It was
discriminatory.
Discriminatory sexually, parents' rights, and freedom of speech were the 3 items that she cited as the reasons this thing was kicked out.
Wow.
Now, if you remember, we played a clip last show that said the whole thing was thrown out because of all these experts that came in and says, it keeps kids from committing suicide.
Yeah, that was it. Would you rather have a dead daughter or a living son?
Yeah.
That was the main one.
So none of those things are even addressed by this woman who's a legal expert in analyzing this thing.
Well, they're trying to get this to the Supreme Court, I guess. That's why they're bringing the Constitution.
That is brought up in the conversation. But the whole thing is like we're being buffaloed about what this is all about, how it's being kicked out, and NPR, this PBS, is promoting this. Oh, yeah, bad. Okay, let's continue. Sorry.
The Arkansas Attorney General has already said that he is going to appeal the ruling and rejected the scientific consensus that transgender youth benefit from such care. What do you make of that appeal? And is it a matter of inevitability that this is ultimately going to reach the Supreme Court?
Well, that will take some time. Certainly, the Arkansas Attorney General has said that he intends to appeal to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals. And I believe that that is just inevitable. In terms of the medical science, however, the vast majority of experts, including the American Medical Association, the American Pediatrics Association, and all of the experts that have weighed in on this subject, unanimously agree that this type of gender-affirming care is in a minor's best interest when the minor has been diagnosed with gender dysphoria.
Dysphoria. Wow. Oh man, this is your medical community. This is your big pharma. When the minor has been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, which is
all they left out was over the phone by a quack.
Yeah, through the app, through
the app. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Continue.
This is a very depressing report, John. Thanks.
And I think that's important to note that Judge Moody's decision was based on a weighing of the credibility of all that medical science.
Science!
In Florida, a judge struck down the state's prohibition on Medicaid coverage for gender-affirming care. And in Indiana recently, another judge temporarily blocked most of their ban for minors.
This is what it's about. This is really what it's about. We got to make sure we get that in Medicare so we can get that paid for. No more GoFundMe's, kids. It's paid for. It's Medicare.
Only allowing the prohibition.
I think it said Medicaid.
Okay, Medicaid. But the point is, that's what they want. That's the holy grail. Well, we got to get
in fact, they had, what's his name, that creepy Health and Human Services guy in the government was demanding that you had to do it, and then they pushed back on that. Yeah, they want the government, the $7.2 million that we heard about, which is going to cause his lifetime care for one of these poor kids that get butchered. The $7.2 million, they want that coming out of the taxpayers, that coming from you and me.
That's right.
For gender-affirming care. And in Indiana recently, another judge temporarily blocked most of their ban for minors, only allowing the prohibition on surgeries to take effect. What has been the legal strategy behind these challenges?
Well, it's the strategy that you're seeing from the ACLU of Arkansas, the allegations that these bans on medical determinations, which implicate personal autonomy and human dignity, violate the First Amendment of treating physicians and the due process rights of parents and the equal protection right of these minor patients. This kind of three-pronged approach seems to be effective. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the decision out of the Florida court, which was based in equal protection, and the one out of Arkansas that came out from Judge Moody.
Wow, man. It's really... If the thing is, you and I know parents, we know them, who are all in, are doing this to their children. You know, we don't hang out with them, but we know who they are. They're doing this to children, and they're severely underinformed about the long. Well, no one really knows the long-term effects. They're underinformed about the the truth of the gender dysphoria. They're lied to about. There is no evidence that people who long-term. There's no evidence because they don't have long-term evidence that people who have been transgendered at a young age that they, have less suicidal tendencies. In fact, there's actually some evidence to the contrary. And because of the medical community and people in lab coats, they're all in on it. They believe it. And then there's kind of a fashion trend to it, a control issue that they didn't have during COVID. And we've heard all these things, put it all together. And it is unbelievable that this is happening right before. I don't know if this will get through. But that this is even being suggested is crazy.
They're getting pushback on all these laws. And you have to note that was mentioned in there is the ACLU.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The screwed up ACLU that used to be kind of for civil liberties, not mutilation. And what's the funny thing? I remember just a few years ago, we used to moan and groan about these Somalians and the ones that are up in Minnesota and they're having
female genital mutilation. Mm-hmm.
Female genital mutilation has now become
cool, trendy.
And it's gone beyond female genital mutilation was just a clitorectomy. Yeah. This is like removal of the breasts, the removal of the uterus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's a little more extreme than what we used to complain about. And it's just beyond me that people like the ACLU are all in on it. But then again, it's $7.2 million per person in long-term benefits to the medical,
it's always
medical
the money,
machine.
man. It's always the money.
Is that the last one?
No. This 5 and 6 left. Okay,
it gets worse.
Some of these rights are well established, including the right of parents to direct and control the upbringing of their children. And that's what these challenges to these bans implicate.
I mean, I can't argue with that. If you really think that this is the best thing for your child, have at it. I mean, people do lots of horrible things with their children, but it needs to keep your name on it. We need to know that you did that. It needs to be some kind of record, and they need to be not lied to. You know, hormone puberty blockers is not so reversible. You're being fed lies.
Yeah, and many of the chemicals are the same chemicals they use for chemical castration.
Yeah.
So,
last one here.
Yeah, they're being lied to by the medical community that they trust. So you're taking a trusting person, which is probably nobody in our community.
No, in our
producers
community.
of the No Agenda Show are pretty untrusting nowadays after going through some of this stuff that we've been discussing for the last 10 years. But to take a trusting person and then exploit them like this is really shameful.
Last point.
Let's wrap it.
Finally, I just wanted to ask you, do you think that these legal challenges and the ultimate rulings that we've seen so far are going to be impacting the politics of this issue? You've seen some of this play out in Arkansas yourself.
Well, these are deeply charged issues, and people feel very strongly about them one way or the other. I would note that Governor Asa Hutchinson, who has put his name in the hat for presidential candidate, actually initially vetoed this bill when it came out of the Arkansas legislature, and it was only passed after the legislature overrode his veto. So I think that candidates on both sides of the aisle recognize that these issues affecting personal health care decisions are personal and involve some government overreach when it comes to these transgender healthcare bans.
So there was an article in the City Journal, which I like, Christopher Rufo. He's a real City Journal type, a real journalist, so pound the pavement type guy. And I put it in the show notes, called Transgender Ideology and the Corruption of Medicine. And he spoke with a physician who's inside a hospital system, and he's talking about, how did this happen? How did this come to be? And he says that this was a cultural shift that happened in 2020. He says because transgender ideology and COVID are inextricably linked. And this is the key, because it really did start during COVID. Normally, doctors operate by the authority of the professional societies that govern our specific practice. That worked because the individuals in those institutions were reliable, intelligent, and thoughtful. But with COVID in 2020, we started getting medical decrees without peer review or evidence. You saw this with masks, social distancing, emergency use authorizations. These decrees were expressed as something that everybody had to do without justification based on sound science. And the other thing was censorship. If you were to ask questions or express doubt about these medical decrees, you would be ostracized within your department, and you stood a good chance of being publicly humiliated, severely reprimanded, or fired. That's when transgender ideology really took off, captured. Within these academic institutions, so-called experts in the field of transgender medicine would simply declare that puberty blockers and other interventions were the gold standard of care. The evidence to support this is completely fraudulent, but no dissent was permitted. Everyone within the medical community knew that if he questioned transgender ideology, he would suffer the same repercussions that happened during COVID. This is exactly what we've been saying. The best way to describe the environment would be authoritarian, censorious culture that discourages any meaningful debate and encourages the demonization of anyone who asks questions. So these are ghouls. These are sick people who do not care about your child. And the only person, if we're gonna be deplatformed by the science during COVID, then we might as well bring back someone from the science during COVID, and that would be Peter McCullough. You can look up Peter McCullough's credentials, infallible. Of course, if you ask anybody, particularly in the media, nut job, crazy anti-vaxxer, loser, no good, should be on Rogan's show every day. But go look at his credentials. They're real. And he's never been really fired from anything because they can't. And he did a beautiful minute and a half on really what's going on here. What is one of the number one things that has increased among children over the past 20 years? Wait, don't answer it. I'll tell you what it is. It's autism. That's a known fact. It's been published. We've gone from when I was a kid, no autism that I can remember except me, kind of.
Same here.
No autism, to now 3 out of every 10 boys being diagnosed with autism. Now, what causes that autism? We'll get to that in a moment, because that's up for debate. But I think what's not up for debate is that there's autism. And if you aren't autistic and you're stuck to a screen all day because your parents gave you the screen in the stroller, go to the mall, take a look. You can have screen-induced autism. It's a real diagnosis. It's a real thing. School teachers all over the country see this, recognize it. The good news is you take away the screen after the screaming and ranting and the tantrums, the screen-induced autism does go away. But what has changed here, and which I'm sure happened when all the kids were on screens at home with homeschooling, thank you for locking us down, everyone was easy to diagnose every child with autism. Enter Dr. Peter McCullough.
What we know is research from the Netherlands. They've been way ahead of the United States on gender change and gender fluidity. What they've uncovered is that a large number of young people coming forward for gender change, particularly pre-puberty, have autism. Van der Meesen and colleagues reported this at the time. This is a long time ago. And recognition and diagnosis has improved. But 20%, 15 years ago, of the transgender population was clinically autistic. That means the autistic spectrum could have been 2 to 3 times greater. Then moving forward, there was a large study by Warrior and colleagues, 600,000 LGBT people. And they were assessed after the fact for autistic traits and characteristics, multiple different psychometric instruments. They were off the Richter scale for autism, off the Richter scale. Now there's been paper after paper published. The rise of autism. When I was a child, autism was 1 in 10,000. Now it's 1 in 36. The CDC on its website indicates it is a pediatric emergency. It's like the epidemic of parenting right now is to have an autistic child, because it's forever. That we now understand that it is autism indeed as a seed that's driving the proclivity for gender change.
That's right. They're saying to these kids, oh, yeah, you're autistic. Don't you sometimes feel like you'd rather be a girl or a boy? Yeah, okay. Boom, there it is. The experts say, go and get your change. This is a huge travesty, and they'll be trying to transgender every single child, I guess, because they
switcheroo, everyone.
Switcheroo.
Boy, girl, girl, boy.
It's a switcheroo.
The whole switcheroo, everyone.
And they do not care about your child. They didn't care about your child during COVID. They didn't care about keeping your kid at home from school. They did not care about masking they do not care. They do not care. I hate to say it. Of course, the medical community, the people in it care, but they're captured. Everyone's captured, and people are afraid. They're afraid to come out because, you'll be living on the street before you know it. Now, what this does, unfortunately, is this creates a vacuum that political douchebags come into, and it's being abused everywhere for political gain. And now we see Starbucks. The Starbucks union is going to go on strike because throughout Pride Month, they weren't allowed to put any pride flags up in Starbucks. And Starbucks has a very clear, during BLM, same thing. No Black Lives Matter stuff. No pride stuff. No transgender stuff. Just no. So this is starting to start to heat up. You get people on the street. You get people angry. And then we get to...
And as far as I'm concerned, a company can do what it wants, and if it doesn't want to change its branding to anything different or to make a mess with flags and things hanging in their store that you don't want, it's their business. Why would you go on strike about that? You go on strike about things that are personal. You're not getting enough money. You're getting screwed by HR. That's what you go on strike about. You don't go on a strike for political reasons.
Well, I'm sure that
you might as well go on strike and say because Schultz isn't voting Democrat or he's not voting Republican.
That would be part of it. And I would say that unions are also abusing this to get more money. Like, well, we didn't get you the pride flags, but we got you more money. Okay, so now the cultural revolution.
Don't get them neither.
The cultural revolution part is what is worrisome. And you just heard that in the City Journal from this insider in the hospital. It's a cultural shift. It's cultural. It's taking hold of people's minds. And this can get dangerous. This is why we compare it to Mao and the Cultural Revolution of 1967, 1968. I was alive. I was on this planet when this took place. And they got kids, a lot of girls. Everyone was doing a switcheroo. Everyone was looking masculine, actually, but mainly girls to boys, and that's what 80% of these switcheroos are. And they were riling them up and making them crazy and pitting them against their employers, against their parents, against their teachers. And it got so bad that they speak of the Guangxi massacre. I'll just read a little piece from the Book of Knowledge. Throughout 1967, but also 1968, there are factions in the countryside that weren't just eliminating each other physically, but literally in a couple of small towns, they were ritualistically eating each other. This was in my lifetime. People got so crazy over stuff like this that they would kill people and then eat the victim's arms and thighs. That's how crazy you can make people, and it's not something in like the Stone Age. So we have to be very careful with this, I think.
I think so too, but it's not us, you and me, that have to be careful. We're careful.
Yes, we are.
It's these guys, these douchebag politicians, the ACLU and other groups that are fomenting this. They want this. Exactly what the end result will be. I mean, maybe it's who knows who's behind it. China.
Well, I'm not sure what it is, but I do know that bad things are happening. This is not good. This clip, which is really underplayed, and at first I'm like, I don't see any news coverage of this, so I didn't know if it was real. And this is not representative of the transgender or LGBT community, but it is perhaps representative of things to come if we're not careful. This happened in Boston.
Tonight, 4 children less than 10 years old are in DCF custody after authorities and public officials say they were found in an apartment with 6 cross-dressing men, sex toys, drugs, and alcohol. Firefighters discovered them after one of those adults died at the apartment.
It was obviously sickening, to hear from those that were there at the scene describing what they saw and the actions of the adults that were in the room.
City Councilor at Large Michael Flaherty says he spoke with the firefighters who responded to the Mary Ellen McCormick apartments and filed paperwork to make sure the state intervened with the children. According to their incident report, the apartment was in extreme unsanitary conditions. All adult parties were being uncooperative and denied having children in the apartment.
Drugs, alcohol, drug paraphernalia, sex toys, etc. And so they were concerned. They had reached out to me just to make sure that it didn't get swept under the rug.
The governor says DCF is now involved in investigating.
Just heartbreaking. Terrible situation. DCF has taken those children into its care and custody right now.
City leaders doing a walkthrough here, now wondering how this could have happened. Councilors planning to hold a hearing with the Boston Housing Authority.
The place is disgusting, and this is on BHA. They need to be doing a better job down there.
Now, the Boston Housing Authority sent us a statement saying that they had received no prior complaints about the unit where this all apparently happened, and they're working with the agencies involved to take all the appropriate follow-up.
So again, This is not representative of the LGBTQ, whatever community you want to call it. But you can do whatever you want as an adult. I'm fine with that. You want to be in an apartment and cross-dress and do whatever. And that was maybe just an underreporting of what was going on there. But when there's children involved, we got to start looking at this stuff. Something's really bad. Something bad is going down. So we got to be careful of this. Now, Big Pharma itself is all out in an all-out war. I'll say it, a war on people. I was doing, actually, my buddy Dave was doing some research. Do you know what the number one category of drug advertisements is? That's DTC, direct to consumer. The top three of the top four are advertising for one specific condition. Any ideas?
I would think it'd be headaches, but
no. When's the last time you saw an ad for Advil? Are you kidding me?
I saw one yesterday.
The number one is eczema, skin issues.
That's surprising.
Yes, but not when you listen to Bobby J. That's my new name for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I can't remember what to say. I'm just calling him Bobby J now.
Bobby. Try something else.
I like Bobby J.
Bobby J sounds like a stripper.
And now to the stage, Bobby J. He said that this comes from vaccines. He says, I didn't know anyone with eczema when I was a kid. I didn't either, by the way. Did you?
No.
He says peanut allergies, eczema, and not from vaccines themselves, but from the composition, from the adjuvants, which of course, and then he goes into a whole bunch of other things.
The Marisol, the mercury.
We've been talking about that for 15 years. Doesn't matter, but they are now the top four advertisers. The one outlier in there is, of course, the new category, which is the Ozempics of the world. And Novo Nordisk is in trouble because Novo Nordisk is now being called to account in Denmark, where they are located, as the EU has raised a safety signal about GLP-1 meds. And besides the, you might get some pancreatic, thyroid cancer, I think is the one some people get thyroid cancer. Others get pancreatic cancer. And,
the worst.
And they're out doing damage control. This was, the Cleveland Clinic is putting together packages that are airing on television for damage control. And what you'll hear is, I think, truthful. They're saying, hey, some people, you get cancer, you die. But look at all the benefits and just be careful.
The prescription weight loss drug Ozempic, meant to help people suffering from obesity, now landing a growing number of patients in the hospital.
With a lot of the ER visits, and there are a lot of them, they're typically people who have gotten some telemedicine video for Ozempic and haven't gotten much guidance about how to use it, what to look out for, etc.
California weight loss surgeon Dr. Terry Simpson.
People get the idea that this is just sort of a benign drug. But it's not a benign drug, and it's a drug meant to be used for a lifetime. It's a drug that has serious side effects.
According to the manufacturer's website, side effects impacting 1 in 10 people include problems with the digestive system, such as diarrhea, vomiting, and nausea.
Well, those are most of the emergency visits that are seen. But the more serious ones, particularly the pancreatitis, is fortunately exceedingly rare, but it does happen.
At the Cleveland Clinic, the emergency department directors have not seen an increase in those cases, but a spokesperson confirms they have seen a few patients with persistent vomiting while taking Ozempic and Wegovy. A small number of these patients have needed to be admitted for observation.
There obviously are those individuals who are being treated who may not have indications for these medications.
Dr. Scott Butch, director of obesity medicine at the Cleveland Clinic.
I think there's a general concept around using anti-obesity medications, thinking that their only purpose is to decrease someone's hunger and therefore make them eat less food. But it's far more complex in how these medications improve not only weight, but other conditions and obesity complications.
Like 74-year-old Beverly Haddich, diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
I have found that it really is working well. I've lost about 50 pounds.
But she says,
you have to follow a diet. You can't just eat what you want, lose weight.
A proper plan under an experienced doctor's care. Important for any medication, they say, including this.
Just like they would in any other disease condition. And also not think that the higher the dose, the more weight loss.
To understand, this is a serious drug, not to just lose 10 or 20 pounds to get ready for the next class reunion, but this is a drug used to treat a condition, morbid obesity. And I think if it's given with care and not with the usual quick fix doctor, it'll be just fine.
So what they're saying is the people who get this, they did it themselves. They were thinking too much. I want to take it more. I was just doing it for the quick fix. You got to, it's a part of a plan. Got to be on a diet. They're setting you up for failure. How many times did I say I have a bad feeling about this thing? It's going to start killing people.
So I think you're going to lose a lot of weight if you're just constantly throwing up.
It helps, yes. So that's a cover-up. Now, the next cover-up, which I think, at first I wasn't even sure, we called it a distraction. I thought it was just a distraction from the elites divvying up Ukraine, but it now really does seem to be a distraction from the enormous amount of information that's coming out about Hunter Biden's corruption and his father's corruption, the current president of the United States. And that was this submarine. And the submarine, we waited for 3 days, like, they're running out of air. Let's have search and rescue. So, we have to, will they make it? It's like Balloon Boy. It's like, whereas James Cameron, a movie guy, he said, by the way, he's been to the depths of the Titanic more than once in a safe.
I'll tell you how many times.
How many times?
33.
Monday morning, when I first found out about the incident, got on a whole bunch of calls and emails. It's a small community. Within an hour and a half, I had the following information. They were on descent. They were at 3,500 feet. They lost comms and tracking. The last one being the critical one, because the transponder that's used to track a sub during descent and on the bottom is a fully autonomous system. It's in its own pressure housing, and it has its own battery power. So for them to lose comms and tracking at the same time, sub was gone. There was no question in my mind. For days, I tried to run other scenarios that could account for it. I could come up with nothing. So the next thing I did was contacted a few more people and managed to track down there are acoustic networks around. Some are research, some are intelligence. We got confirmation within an hour that there had been a loud bang at the same time that that comms were lost. A loud bang on the hydrophones, loss of transducer or transponder, loss of comms. I knew what happened. Sub imploded.
So this guy, movie guy, who will be happy to go on television, he knew within an hour sub was gone. Within an hour. Did they have any of these experts like James Cameron on the news? No. No, they didn't.
He wasn't the only one. My understanding was a number of people that knew that their sub was gone in an hour.
Well, they do. Now it comes out, you people were just watching there with bated breath, pun intended. Oh, everybody knew it.
This just came in moments ago, just minutes ago. The Navy apparently heard on Sunday the implosion, what appears to be the implosion of the Titan, and then immediately shared that information with the Coast Guard, they say. Tonight, a heartbreaking end. The Coast Guard announcing search crews have found the pieces of the missing sub carrying 5 passengers 1,600 feet, nearly a third of a mile from the bow of the Titanic.
This is a incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the seafloor, and the debris is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel.
So this was all known, and now they're saying, "Oh no, we gave it to we told the Coast Guard right away." What are you talking about? The only guy who you can tell is full of crap and lying is Rear Admiral Kirby. When he was asked, he goes into his humana mode.
And then on the adventure tourism vessel that was headed to
By the way, I love the term adventure tourism vessel. That's a good one.
And then on the adventure tourism vessel that was headed to the Titanic, if the Navy had audio suggesting that it had imploded, was that communicated with all the partners that you had that audio, or
so the Navy did pass on to the incident commander the acoustic data that they had received. But they were also quick to make clear that they couldn't be definitive about what that data meant.
Really? James Cameron seems pretty definitive.
And they couldn't be clear that that data was connected to the Titan, to the submersible. But they did pass that information up to the incident commander, as you would expect they would. And I'm sure that was factored into the search plan in some way, but I'd refer you to the Coast Guard to speak to specifics.
Concerns that resources were wasted in searching the area the size of Connecticut?
No. I think the Coast Guard has spoken definitively about this and quite well every day here, or at least every day till we got the tragic news, that there was an awful lot of effort put into trying to locate the Titan. Look, when you're in a search and rescue...
But no one mentioned that they had that audio for 72 hours.
Operation.
I never heard it.
No.
Particularly at sea, particularly in deep sea. I mean, time is not your friend. And I think you can see from the way in which this was put together in pretty quick fashion with a lot of resources from, as Karine mentioned, from multiple countries.
I love how this was put together. This psyop,
the distraction of the week on no agenda.
I mean, time is not your friend. And I think you can see from the way in which this was put together in pretty quick fashion with a lot of resources from, as Karine mentioned, from multiple countries, that there was a tremendous effort put forward to try to find the Titan as quickly as possible, knowing that time was not going to be anybody's friend.
No, time was not your friend. Time was the issue. That's why I keep saying time, because the word went out. And I didn't mention this on Thursday because I wasn't sure yet. It seemed like a real shortcut to say, this is a distraction from the Bidens. But now we know it was a distraction from the Bidens, because during this event, this is what came out. Two things.
A House committee released testimony today from two IRS whistleblowers who say the DOJ, the FBI, and their IRS superiors improperly interfered with their investigation of Hunter Biden, who agreed to a plea deal this week. Garrett Haake joins us. Garrett, what do the whistleblowers have to say?
Lester, these two senior IRS agents allege that the president's son received preferential treatment throughout the 5-year tax investigation that resulted in 2 misdemeanor guilty pleas this week. In testimony released by a Republican-led House committee, the agents accused the DOJ and the FBI of slow-walking portions of the investigation to Hunter Biden's benefit, and that efforts by the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney leading the probe to charge more serious crimes were blocked. A DOJ spokesman tonight denied any such interference. One whistleblower also provided what he says are WhatsApp messages from Hunter Biden to a Chinese business associate from 2017, in which the younger Biden says he's sitting with his father waiting on a response to a proposal, and that he and the then former vice president will make the business partner regret not responding. Now, NBC News has not yet confirmed the authenticity of that message. The White House tonight says President Biden has upheld his commitment to let this investigation proceed free of any political interference. Hunter Biden's attorneys have not responded to our request for comment.
So the White House administration was so panicked about this, and I don't think that they killed these people on purpose, of course, in the submarine, but they used it, and they used whatever resources they had in the media to paper over this and talk about other things, even as the White House press corps, the entire press corps, was hounding Karine Abdul-Jean-Pierre Van Damme about it.
Yeah. So Kirby wouldn't answer James's question, though. Are you going to answer the question? I mean, not a reasonable question to ask, but the President of the United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest, in some sort of coercive conversation for business dealings by his son. Is that something, if he wasn't, then maybe you should tell us?
So here's the thing, and I appreciate the question. I believe my colleague at the White House Counsel has answered this question already, has dealt with this, has made it very clear. I just don't have anything to share outside of what my colleagues have shared, and so I would refer you to him and the DOJ. Just not going to comment from here.
Text message.
What I can tell you is I know that my colleague has dealt with this. He addressed this at the White House Counsel. I just don't have anything else to share.
In the shakedown attempt?
I just answered the question. I just answered the question.
Yes or no? Was the president involved in the shakedown attempt?
Stephen, yes or no? Stephen, I just answered the question. It's not up to you how I answer the question. I just answered the question by telling you my colleagues at the White House Counsel has dealt with this, and I would refer you to them. Go ahead.
Karine, can you just remind us what your colleague said from the White House Counsel so we have it?
I would refer you to them, and they will share their statement.
My question is about your statements from that podium. You stated that the president stands by his comment from the 2020 campaign that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with his son. And you stood at that podium and you reaffirmed that. Do you stand by your reaffirmation?
What I will say is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
Well, things have changed because at least some of the media has been sent out as heat-seeking missiles to expose this.
Well, before you go on, I want to mention one thing that's a little factoid here. She was given the opportunity. There was an out created during this whole episode with Hunter Biden and all this other stuff. If you recall, after they'd already they gave him the hand slap, they said, it's still under investigation. Mm-hmm. She could have and should have, if she had a clue, and she is too dumb to do this.
We don't comment on ongoing investigations.
Period.
Yeah,
done.
You're right. But then the crime family. I'm just going to read this. I have to read this message so we have some context about it because there's a screenshot of it. I'll read this. It's pretty good. Here we go. I am sitting. This is Hunter to his Chinese, the money guy. I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows of my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. These are criminals. That's criminal talk. And then Hunter Biden is invited to the state dinner. I guess it was Modi. And the C-SPAN is following him, and everyone's like, hey, Hunter, they're hugging. Hey, brother, good. How you doing? All these douchebags are coming up. This guy has pull. People fear these. You may be right about Biden being the old crazy guy, but in the meantime, he's running the mob because they fear these people. Fear them.
There was a clip, and this is the reason I sent you that note that I couldn't use Bing I.O. well. And I want you to show me how to do it after the show.
Okay.
There was a clip we had. It was about 10 years ago. And it was a bunch of black guys that there was on some podcast or some show or other. Mm-hmm. And they were black radicals from the 60s. And they were going on and on about how weird the Democrats have become because they're loving the FBI. They're loving the CIA. We used to hate the CIA. We used to hate the FBI. It was always considered bad form to be anything, about these people. And then one of them said, and then Biden came into the conversation. One of them said, and if I can never find this clip, I'm sure I'm pretty close to this. Says, well, somebody just said something disparaging about Biden. He says, you shouldn't do that. He says, no matter what you think, Joe Biden is more important than you think. He's running everything. He is the guy who is behind a lot of this. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah, I do remember that. Well,
yeah, it was these black guys bitching about the sudden love of the FBI.
You think that was 10 years ago?
I think it was It was a while back. It may have been at the beginning of the Trump administration. I think it was pre-Trump.
Okay. Well, it certainly appears that way, and here's NBC covering this. So the word is out. The word is out. We are going to take down Joe Biden one way or the other.
Well, maybe after I got a counter programming to this.
Well, I'll go through these, and then you'll do your counter programming.
Now to that appearance that turned a lot of heads in Washington overnight. Hunter Biden attended the White House state dinner for India's prime minister just days after striking a plea deal to settle federal tax charges. NBC's senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell joins us now with more on this. And Kelly, first of all, good morning to you. This was a very, very public appearance. First of all, was it expected, given it's only been a few days since that plea deal?
Well, good morning, Craig. The White House didn't make public ahead of time until the guest list came out that Hunter Biden was coming. But you saw the president's son on full display. He's the first child of a sitting president criminally charged, and he was invited to be among the high-profile guests at the White House state dinner. We saw him mixing and mingling in black tie at this glamorous affair, along with a number of Biden family members. The White House also invited Attorney General Merrick Garland and Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who says the House GOP should keep investigating the president's son and his foreign business dealings.
And then the WhatsApp message.
Meanwhile, there's some new whistleblower testimony that's also making headlines. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this is far from over. A GOP-led House committee released testimony from 2 IRS agents and whistleblowers on Tuesday who say the DOJ and other government officials improperly interfered in their Hunter Biden investigation, giving him what they say is preferential treatment. One of those agents also provided what he says are WhatsApp messages from Hunter Biden to a Chinese business associate in 2017. And in that, he says he is sitting with his father, who was then the vice president, waiting for an answer to a proposal, and that he would not regret not following the direction. That's the interaction with a Chinese businessman. Now, NBC has not confirmed the authenticity of the message, and the White House says there was no political interference here. Hunter Biden's attorneys have not commented.
And to be honest, I mean, he was not vice president. You know, can do whatever he wants, I guess, but it is pretty damning. And to have Hunter, who was just, given a slap on the wrist, a sweetheart deal, as they say, to have him there in the same room as the attorney general, the whole thing is weird, and people are seeing it. Everyone's seeing it now. Counter programming, go.
Nobody's seeing it except Fox watchers and you.
Okay. All right.
Here's what people are seeing. This is this is Capehart with Brooks and Capehart. Every Friday they analyze the news. And Capehart, the black gay guy that's the associate editor of the Washington Post, no slouch in terms of credibility, and of course just a killer Democrat. And he's going to express what he thinks of this and how I think all the Democrats see it.
Jonathan, what's your assessment of the plea deal and the way that Republicans are targeting Hunter Biden as a proxy for Joe Biden?
When we talked about this earlier, I was asked the question: is this justice? So how do you define? What does that mean in this case of Hunter Biden? To me, look, a special counsel was appointed. That person is someone who was appointed by President Trump and was given unbelievable power in terms of investigating, in terms of doing all sorts of stuff. And this is what he came up with: 2 minor tax charges and then something involving a gun charge.
Okay.
2 minor tax, and I will revisit my comment about the $100,000 fine for a $1.5 million for 2 years, and who knows how much longer.
Yeah.
He's bringing in $1.5 million, and he is paying a $100,000 fine.
How does that work?
Where's the rest of this? And I was thinking about this. Where's the real tax? He owes $500,000 minimum on that kind of income, plus penalties for years and years of not paying this tax. This was not last week. Where's all that? And I would say, well, maybe he did pay that and it wasn't discussed. That's not the way it works. The IRS, when they find a big fish and they nick him for like, I don't know, $1 million, they publicize it to scare the public at large. If there was anything more than the $100,000 fine on a tax bill that had to be at least $500,000 or $600,000, it would have been publicized. It wasn't. So he didn't pay. He got away with murder here in terms of his tax liability. And, it's no big deal. And according to Capehart, play part 2.
And meanwhile, you've got House Republicans, Chairman Comer, who keeps talking about whistleblowers, but he hasn't talked to them in 3 years. There seems to be a lot of people pumping up smoke about Hunter Biden and not coming up with anything. And in a lot of ways, I think it's really sort of unseemly that, fine, you want to go after the president and use his son as proxy. Okay, that's the nature of ugly politics these days. But we're talking about the son of a president who was an addict, who went through some really hard times and did some really stupid things. And I'm having a hard time raising that to the level of a twice impeached, now twice criminally indicted former president who we really should be talking about and really asking Republicans, why don't you talk about him and what's going on with him? Because there are national security implications, rule of law implications that are at stake here. Not with Hunter Biden, not all the stuff that we've seen over the last few years. Come on.
Yeah, well, they're running interference for him. They're on a different. They're on. Come on. They're on a different team. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. They're on a different team, man.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And luckily, we do have a few people to thank for show 151567. Starting with Jamie Cornell, I think, in Vista, California. And he came in with $150. He's got a birthday call out to his buddy. My Ben with an NDA. Okay, I don't know what that's all about. And he's got some requests, which we'll maybe or maybe not do at the end. So 150. Metal Dog Machines in Rocky Mountain Hot Springs, Alberta, Canada. Is that right?
I think so.
Workout Karma for Dame Andrea, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right.
Simon Cox. Okay, let me try that. Uthorn.
Outhorn.
And
you would really say Outhorn.
Outhorn.
There you go.
$111. He's in the Netherlands. Love you guys.
It's a switcheroo
for his smoking hot girlfriend.
Sita.
Daniel Schuler in Caledonia, New York. $100. Kevin McLaughlin, there he is. He's already up there, 8008. Wuhan Batman in Columbus, Ohio, 8008. De-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Robert Ludwig in Nevada, Iowa. 8008. It's a boob donation for his late wife. Stephen Trockles. Stefan Trockles in Soest. Deutschland.
Soest, the Netherlands.
Oh, it says Deutschland.
It's Deutsch wrong. Soest is the Netherlands.
Well, are you sure there's no Soest in Deutschland?
100%.
There's a Nevada, Iowa.
Hey,
okay.
Don't argue.
Jason Shepard in Superior, Colorado. Anyway, Stefan is in for 8008, and so is Jason Shepard from Superior, Colorado, 8008. And so is Sir Chaotic Mass in Dallas, Texas, 8008. Sir Ready Kilowatt comes in at 7373 from Battlement Mesa,
Field Day donation.
Colorado.
Field Day donation, 73s.
Oh, Field Day, 7373. Eluded me. Sir Ramsey Kane. Hey, Ramsey's in Brookfield, Wisconsin. 6969. I don't know. He wants Egon Direct plugged. The plugs are only up at the higher levels, Ramsey. You know that. Robert Taylor, or you put it at the beginning. Robert Taylor, New Brighton, Minnesota, 5678. Sir Lucas of the Lost Bits in Federal Way, Washington, 5110. David Wicker in Jacksonville, Florida, 5110.
Hey, David.
5510 for both these guys. Double nickels on the dime.
He's we saw him in Fredericksburg. He came by. He stopped by. We had a nice coffee with him, the keeper eye.
David?
Yeah, David Wicker. And he's on his way to, he's Sir by his grace, and he is on his way he made it to Utah. One more state to go, and he's back in Boise, in Idaho. Sorry, Idaho. He's doing a tour with his three-legged dog, Greta.
Adrian Christensen in Lincoln, Nebraska, 55. Now, these following people are $50 donors. Name and location: Donald Locke, 50. Alexa Delgado, 50 in Aptos. Gaucho Woodworking. See, that's how you do it, Ramsey. Put it at the beginning. Gaucho Woodworking in Redondo Beach, California. Kate Haskell in San Rafael, California. Greg Huff in Austin, Texas. David Perdue in Snow Hill, North Carolina. Michael Romano in Sebastopol, California. Kristen Fontaine in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey.
Happy belated
Father's Day to her husband, Rick, of 11 years. Andrew Butterfield in Bettendorf, Iowa. Diego Lopez Crane in Ithaca, New York. Charles Lloyd in San Marcos, Texas. And Samuel Cannerday in North Riverside, Illinois. Brian Hummel in Wimberley, Texas. Nancy Tyndall in New Braunfels, Texas. Servo. Did you know that New Brownsville used to make these great smokers and cookers, and the company went out of business? The Franklin guy, he's making his own now.
Franklin barbecue guy?
Yeah.
He also makes a dynamite rub, which I had the other night at a friend's house. They sell it, Franklin's barbecue rub. It's really good.
Well, his burner, his Texas side cooker looks like a winner.
Oh.
It's got Franklin carved into it. It's kind of interesting looking.
It's what you do.
Servo in Lake County, British Columbia. Todd Sterner in Novato, California. The Tact Squad in Columbus, Georgia. Amy Grohl in Burien, Washington. John Walter in Wenatchee, Washington. Daniel First in Kaukauna, Wisconsin, which is mispronounced. Andrew Lissy in, I don't care. Apparently there's a lot of towns in Wisconsin I can't pronounce. Andrew Lissy in Aldie, Virginia. What is he writing there? Does he need something?
He says, many shows ago, cheap people were called out for not donating. That was probably you who said that. In true cheap fashion, I didn't donate. But here's my first $50 towards knighthood and the title, Sir Cheap Cheap. All right, keep it going, Andrew.
Yeah, you get to Sir Cheap Cheap. Anonymous in Amstelveen. You bit my lip doing that.
Sorry.
Ow.
Ouch.
Eric Kessler in Kansas City, Missouri wraps it up. And to go back to Sir Ramsey, since he's a friend of the show, I will mention his eGun Direct, whatever they do there. EGUN Direct, I guess it's .com.
Oh,
Stop by our Butler, Wisconsin location. I don't know what he's up to. No idea.
They got e-guns, whatever. Thank you all to these donors, these producers who produced episode 1567. Of course, we always want to thank people who come in under $50. We won't mention you, so you're always assured of anonymity. But at the same time, we really do appreciate those sustaining donations. They do provide a base. And if you were there before and if you left during the PayPal apocalypse, we'd appreciate if you could find another way to support us. If you want to know how that can be done, there's many ways. Go here.
Dvorak.org/NA. It's your birthday. On no agenda.
Scotland the Brave wishes his wife, future Dame Scotland the Brave, a belated happy birthday. And of course, there was some anniversary we had to call out. Sir David turned 67 on the today. Sir Sweet Lady and Keeper wishes her fiance, Ben with an NDA, Artie Johnson, a happy birthday, turning 60 tomorrow. Sir Vo turns 33 tomorrow. And a happy 10th birthday to Seamus Mac Jones. He turns 10 tomorrow. Please, everybody, pray his appetite returns. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
Title changes. Turn and face this way.
Title changes.
Don't wanna be a douche.
No douchebags here. None whatsoever. We have a title change. Sir David, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, becomes a baron today, and we congratulate him and thank him very much. And we've got 2 knights to bestow with that honor today. So here's my sword.
Here it is.
Oh, it's a little rusty. We haven't used it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, for a month.
There we go. Up on the podium, Frank Duivenvoorden, or Frank Valentino Arguero. Gentlemen, both of you have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. Therefore, I am very proud to pronounceate to you as the following knights: Sir Frank Duivenvoorden, until you come up with a different name, and Sir V of CastelCilano.com. For you, we've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys, and Chardonnay. But also, by request, we have Tomahawk Ribeye and a Lagavulin 16. We got some pepperoni rolls and pale ales. I got some Rubenesque Ruben and Rosé here. They're fresh. Haven't been used in a couple of weeks. Bongets and bourbon, sparkling cider and Escort, ginger ale and gerbils, breast milk and pablum, and of course we've got the mutton and the mead. And go to noagendarings.com. Let us know where we can send your night ring, your sealing wax, and your official certificate of certification of official knighthood. I got a picture from my periodontist, who is now, of course, a knight, and he is hanging his certificate above his periodontal certificates. He says he's making copies and hanging them in every room of the office, which is great. Thank you very much for supporting the best podcast in the universe.
No Agenda Meetups.
I've been mentioning for the past couple of weeks how important these meetups are. And, the reason why you're being called to join a meetup is because this is where you'll find community. Many have even found love at these meetups, and this community will watch out for you as they have done for one another. You will all be kept safe. Very important to go to a meetup, find that community. You're being called to it. Meetup report from Chattanooga, the Chattanooga Fears Freedom Meetup for 40s and Foul at the Champies in East Ridge. It's a written one in the Morning Slaves. We had a great turnout here in Chattanooga yesterday afternoon. Good conversation with good people. Couldn't have asked for a more perfect weather. Some familiar faces and some new ones. They sent me a picture. Everyone looking good. John and Adam brought us together, and we took that and strengthened the bond between our brothers and sisters in Christ. So happy for the opportunity for the fellowship. Looking forward to many more. And this is Tim, who brought us the meetup report. Here's one from the North Georgia June meetup. A lot of people there. And they went all out and produced a real meetup report.
That's a night that they hung an innocent man.
With sound effects, apparently.
Hey, Adam and John, it's Bob from the North Georgia June Meetup. We had our largest meetup so far with 16 knights, dames, douchebags, and even one spook. And we dedicated this meetup to Sir Dude named Daniel, Knight of the Infinite Forgotten Wisdom, who runs the No Agenda Meetup site out of the goodness of his heart and, of course, his wallet. So everybody kicked in a few bucks, and we raised $200 to help him out with the site. So thank you, Sir Daniel, for all you do. And remember, if you're going to go to a meetup, please RSVP. Now let's hear what everybody had to say.
In the morning, Ben here.
In the morning, my name's Delisha, and in my studio, I have a Neumann mic.
In the morning, it's Eddie, Delicia's husband. Our first human resources will be here in 7 days. This is a great meetup report. See you later.
Hey, Adam and John, it's Andy, protector of small horses, and we're having a great time at the Alpharetta meetup.
In the morning from Alpharetta, this is Jared.
This is Sir Jason Green, and George Clooney is a spy.
Hey, Adam and John, this is Captain Jeff, Airline Pilot Guys Show on the No Agenda stream. My first meetup ever, and it's awesome. Highly recommended.
Hey, Adam and John, it's Dame Foreign Lady Before, Baroness. Thanks for your courage. ITM.
In the morning, slaves, this is Maddie J from the heart of FEMA Region 4. Remember, kids, say no to bugs and precancerous bird goo.
Hey, Dr. Sir, Mike Roch. I call Huina.
Sean here. God save the Queen, man.
In the morning, this is Carrie.
ITM. Sir E says, go to a meetup. They're wonderful.
Hey, I think the guy next to me is a spook.
100%.
100 frickin' %. I don't know what the machine guns and all the stuff in the background is about, but sounds like a wonderful meetup. Thank you all for sending that in. Today, we've got the real Fox Valley meetup happening in Aurora, Illinois, Two Brothers Roundhouse, the Morrow's Woodness. That'll be at 3 o'clock your time, John. Trails and Tap House in Snohomish, Washington. And the South Mississippi Testing the Turnout meetup. That'll be at 6 o'clock at 320 5th Street in Laurel, Missouri. We got a lot more coming up for July, even one on the 4th of July, of course, in the UK, in London, because they don't celebrate 4th of July over there. But they might just be doing it in the United States' honor as a meetup. Many more to find, many more that you can go to. Go to noagendameetups.com. Find your group. Connection is protection. If you can't find a meetup there near you, start one yourself. It's easy and always guaranteed a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be, triggered on hell to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same.
It's like a party. There. All right. Thanks, everybody. That was really nice. I love those meetups. I got to go to another one soon. The indie meetup after our vacation. Well,
when's the vacation?
It's going to be in August, but we're going to do shows. We're going to do shows on the road. Maybe we'll take one day off for travel, but I think we're gone almost like 2 weeks, and I'll be doing the show from the road. So semi-vacate. Not really. It's like no vacation. It's just I'm working from a different country.
What do you got for ISOs?
This one?
Pack your stuff up and go.
And I have actually two, which were kind of cute. Two kids. The first kid's name is, I think this is, let me see. This is Bam.
God save the Queen, man.
And then there's Bop and Bam.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm not sure which one I like better. But I thought it was.
God save the Queen, man.
I thought it was kind of cute.
It's kind of thin.
It's a little thin. Poor kids. Okay.
I got two.
Mm-hmm.
I got sick.
I am sick.
Okay.
And truth.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
Ooh.
I am sick.
I think the truth. I think nothing could be further from the truth. I think is pretty good.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
It'll be a nice ender, I think.
It's okay. You know who it is?
Let me listen again. No, let me listen.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
I do not.
I thought you'd get it. It's Garland.
Oh, nah, I wouldn't know him. I wouldn't know him. No. Let's see.
Well, I got one. I get more than one, but there's one clip I'd like to at least end with, which is. Earlier we listened to PBS and their reporting on the trans Maoism and how it was like slanted.
Somewhat.
So now I have this is not the whole clip. This is just a mangle part of it. The part of the clip that they decided to throw their slant and lies, literally a lie, in their opening of their discussion on abortion. This is the PBS mangle.
The 2024 Republican presidential hopefuls in Washington for the Faith and Freedom Coalition, one of the largest gatherings of Christian conservative political activists, coinciding with the 1-year anniversary of the Supreme Court eliminating the constitutional right to an abortion. All of the GOP candidates were really emphasizing their anti-abortion credentials.
Wow, eliminating the constitutional right to an abortion.
So in the Constitution, according to PBS, there's a constitutional right to an abortion.
Yeah.
That's a lie. That's just a plain lie.
It's
not
been there for years.
Case.
No.
That's PBS. This is where we've gone. All these years since McNeil and Lair did the McNeil-Lair report, the whole thing was brought in as, we need to do a little more details on the news. We should do a better job. It's just turned into another hack operation promoting whatever, the political whims that they have are. It's just.
I think we've learned that people lie a lot.
Media people.
Media people. Unfortunately, doctor people, political people. There's a lot of lying going on. But podcast people, no.
Never.
That's where you find the truth. You have to sift through about 4 million of them, but you came to the right one, and we'll be here again on Thursday, and we look forward to doing that. We enjoy it. It's what we do. It's all we do. And that means please consider returning some value if you found anything valuable here during this episode. Coming up next on noagendastream.com, or if you're still in one of those hip-hopping apps, podcastapps.com, or if you're listening on trollroom.io, That Larry Show, episode 419 coming up. Also, end of show mixes, some really good ones. I'm very proud of our end of show mixes. Jesse Coy Nelson, we've got Sir Michael Anthony, we've got TJ the Wrathful, which is almost like a new anthem of sorts. It's so good. And we have Neil Jones, the clip custodian, coming to you from the heart of the Texas Hill Country here in FEMA Region number 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the fog is lifting, finally. Pretty late for that, but it's lifting. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday with more media deconstruction. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos, a hooey hooey, and such.
Oh, I'd love to be an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Prigozhin had risen from criminal convict in the 1980s to hot dog seller in the 1990s to well-connected Kremlin caterer in the 2000s.
That is what I truly like to be.
Will Wagner lead a push against Russian President Vladimir Putin and lead an insurrection with the help of his army? Prigozhin is the chief of Russia's mercenary group, Wagner.
'Cause if I were an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Yevgeny Prigozhin. He has also been extremely vocal in his condemnation of the Russian High Command, as in he recently described them as, quote, bitches, and out and out accused them of treason.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not an Oscar Mayer wiener. That is what I never want to be.
The leader of the Russian mercenary Wagner group calling for an armed mutiny.
Yevgeny Prigozhin and his Wagner group is charging on Moscow. Could this be a breakthrough for Ukraine?
I don't think so.
You just got punked.
So everyone is saying he got a sweetheart deal or he didn't get a sweetheart deal. We don't know what they had or didn't have. We don't have the evidence that the U.S. attorney was looking at. Maybe the evidence was really weak, and maybe he didn't get a sweetheart deal.
The first son hobnobbing with the Washington elite at his dad's White House state dinner just 2 days after that sweetheart deal.
Maybe they had overwhelming evidence and he got a sweetheart deal.
And he walks away with the sweetheart deal. Sweetheart deal.
Sweetheart deal.
After striking that sweetheart deal with his daddy's DOJ.
Lightest slap on the wrist that only the son of a president can get.
Okay, and I want to dig in deeper on that because the big reaction yesterday was, yes, sweetheart deal, but nobody really broke down how sweet was it.
And all of the sweetheart deal talk.
And then there's the Republicans who say this is a sweetheart deal.
Don't.
And he walks away with the sweetheart deal.
Sweetheart deal.
This is not a sweetheart deal. It's a deal. I think it's a good deal for Hunter Biden in that he will stay out of prison and end up with only 2 misdemeanors on his record, but it's certainly not a sweetheart deal.
You're already hearing a lot of shouting, oh, sweetheart deal, oh this, oh that. You could argue it's a sweetheart deal, right? It's true, they're not getting any prison time. And yet, if this wasn't Hunter Biden, it is likely he wouldn't have been prosecuted at all.
If this wasn't a sweetheart deal, then why did Donald Trump's CFO get thrown into Rikers Island for 100 days for pleading guilty to a smaller tax charge than Hunter?
Don't you feel guilty eating meat? And don't you hate plant-based meat? But don't you still want to eat meat?
Well, now you can. 99% guilt-free. Introducing lab-grown chicken. Now approved in the USA by the USDA. No soy, no beans, no gluten. To make lab-grown chicken, stem cells are harmlessly extracted from a living bird. These cells are cultivated in a bioreactor fermentation system, just like bacteria. The result? All of the flavor with none of the nature. According to experts, nature is a major cause of climate change. Cellular agriculture replaces filthy animals with clean, lifeless machines. Unlike pasture-raised chickens, bioreactors only need electricity, chemicals, and various industrial substances. Biotech is revolutionizing food, promising to solve many problems caused by industrialization, with more industrialization. Thank you, Bill Gates. Lab-grown chicken. Escape the circle of life.
Anytime when you're scrolling on the screen, media makes you wanna scream. You might need a fresh point of view.
By the way, don't start your promo with hey. It feels rude. Hey.
And I say, hey, what a wonderful time of day. Hey, to hit someone in the mouth and say, hey, listen to No Agenda.
You gotta listen to the show.
Go to all the meets.
Hang out with the trolls.
They don't miss a beat.
Donate to the show.
Give some beef for V. Become a Notre Dame. Don't be a douchebag forever. It's a simple podcast, and it comes from the heart. There are no ads or sponsors, so they can say what they want. And I say, hey, in the morning to all the slaves. It's an agenda show kind of day.
Hey,
thank you for your courage. And I say, hey, what a wonderful time of day. To hit someone in the mouth and say, hey, listen to No Agenda.
What you hear changes everything. Okay. There's a lot wrong with that podcast.
Hey.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Nothing could be further